Trib Live High School Sports Network is your home for high school sports. We broadcast over 2,000 high school sporting events each year, over 15 sports, and across 10 counties. Visit us online at hssn.triblive.com and find the latest in high school sports news, along with live and archive broadcasts, scores, stats, standings, and more, including premium shows live from the Excella Health Studios. Trib Live High School Sports Network, the official video and audio streaming network of the WPIAL.
And good evening. Welcome to Martinelli Stadium in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. It is week 4, WPIAL football on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Hello again, everybody. I am Sam Hall alongside Steve Nagler, Shelby Cassesi in the house, Jess Levo, Justin LeBar, everybody here for the video game of the week, and it's going to be a dandy. The North Hills Indians, unbeaten, will take on the 3-1 Peters Township Indians. It's a week 4 non-conference matchup, Steve, here in 5A. But as we said to Don in the pregame, it may not have bearing on whether you get into the playoffs, but this game I think is going to be a game that the committee goes back and looks at and says, this is what you did in week 4 against another, I think, playoff opponent.
A really good test for both of these teams. I think probably by far the best team that North Hills will have played this year. They're excited here in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. The Indians, North Hills Indians, under head coach Pat Carey, their first 4-0 start as a program since 2014, but it's against teams that are a combined 4-12 through week 3 of the season. So by far the toughest test. Last week, the North Hills Indians squeaked by Hampton by the score of 3-0. Place kicker Dan Wagner a 23-yard field goal in the second quarter, which was the difference in that ball game. Tyler Tomasic in for Tyler Brennan, who really has had an outstanding year before getting hurt in week 2. Tyler Tomasic filled in very admirably. 31 carries, 160 yards rushing. Tyler Brennan looks like he's going to be back. He's been a touchdown machine the first 3 weeks of this season before getting hurt. 41 carries, 466 yards rushing, and 13 touchdowns in their first 13 games.
And you want to talk about excited. A lot of people excited down in Washington County about these Peters Township Indians. Last year they go 7-4 under then second-year head coach T.J. Plack, who's come over here from South Fayette. And really, I think, starting to do the same kind of thing I believe he did at South Fayette, which is laying that groundwork. We're talking about a roster that has expanded year after year. He's now in his third year. They go 7-4 last year. They get knocked off by Central Catholic, but only lose to the Vikings by a touchdown in the opening round of the playoffs last year. And a lot of those kids back now. They don't have Cortez back at quarterback. They have a very young quarterback, but he's been fantastic thus far on the season. He
has. And you look back to 2017, I think that's when you can kind of look to see the turnaround happening under head coach T.J. Plack. You mentioned that 27-20 loss in the first round against Central Catholic. I don't think anybody in Western Pennsylvania thought that was going to be much of a ball game, but they made it one. Huge road win last week against West Allegheny. That kind of stamped the legitimacy of these Peters Township Indians. They go on the road. They win going away 42-28 against one of the best teams in 5A, West Allegheny. And they did it with Logan Pfeiffer, the sophomore quarterback, kind of coming of age last week, if you will. 195 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. They've got 2 really good running backs in Adrian Williams and Ryan Majewski. Williams, 238 yards rushing through the third week of the season, 3 touchdowns. Ryan Majewski, 34 carries, 202 yards, 4 touchdowns for him. A really nice 1-2 punch. And Logan Pfeiffer has grown fond of throwing the football to Josh Casilli. 12 receptions, 3 touchdowns in the year. He's averaging more than 22 yards per catch. But everything starts up front, Sammy. This is one of the most physical teams in the WPIL. They returned 4 starters on the offensive line. Talked to a couple of West Allegheny Indian players this week, and he said between playing Bethel Park the week before and then Peters Township was hands down the most physical team they played in the regular season to this point. So you got to deal with the physicality of the T.J. Plack, his mindset in this Peters Township Indians team.
Yeah, talked to T.J. prior to the start of this one, and he said almost the same thing. Yeah, Logan had a big week last week against West Allegheny, but what set that up was we were able to run the football, and they couldn't stop us from running, and that really opened up the passing game for the sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, and I think one of the big differences between this Peters Township Indians team and previous years is they have a pretty good defense. Yeah, they gave up 28 points against a very good offensive team in West Allegheny last week, but they come into tonight only giving up 12.8 points per game against. That's best in Allegheny 8 conference play, 4th best in 5A.
Very exciting time in Washington, also exciting time up here in the North Hills. The giant North Hills band on the stadium floor here at Martirelli as they have Hall of Fame night inducing. Now, we do expect that there will be some weather involved tonight as it's moving from west to east and also sliding to the north a little bit. I expect at some point we're going to have at least a minimum of a half-hour delay in terms of seeing some lightning. PIAA rules, of course, the minute you see lightning, no football for 30 minutes until you don't see lightning for 30 minutes.
And that very well could play a role in how this game finishes, because they'll play in rain, but like you mentioned, the moment they see lightning, everybody off the field, they get everybody out of these metal stands. And, you wait. And it certainly, if that comes to pass, it'll be interesting to see how the game has played out to this point. You see it at all levels. You see it at the college level. You see it at the pro level. You see teams that go into that break having a lot of momentum. They come out maybe a little bit stalled, or it can be vice versa. Teams are not playing all that well, and that little bit of a break can kind of help maybe get them things turned around. Maybe in the locker room they make some schematic changes. So we'll have to keep an eye on the weather and see how it plays out.
These teams fairly similar in that it all starts up front for both of these football teams. Peters Township, a team that runs the football and then gets the pass going off of that run game. North Hills, a team that almost exclusively runs the football. I think the battle in the trenches is going to be the story of this football game. And these offensive and defensive lines are very similar. Both of them with a lot of experience, both of them a lot of size and athleticism, and both of them with a lot of guys that are back. And that's the reason, I think, for the early season success for both of these football teams.
Well, let me just underscore that point, Sammy. The starting quarterback for North Hills, Dylan Pauling, who is a junior, he's only thrown the ball 11 times this year. He's completed 6 of 11 passes for 65 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. If Pat Carey doesn't have to throw the football, he will not. And so we're going to see a lot of Tyler Brennan. They're happy to have him back, but Tyler Tomasic and Tommy McDonough have done a really good job of spelling Tyler Brennan. Both of those young men, Tomasic and McDonough, have averaged more than 60 yards per game coming into tonight. So they have a lot of guys that can run the football, and they prefer to keep it on the ground.
I think the weather's going to end up having you prefer to keep it on the ground anyway, even if it doesn't start pouring rain or lightning, which we expect it to. It's certainly going to be very breezy as the front moves through. It's been breezy for most of this afternoon here at Martirelli Stadium. And you're going to want to run the football exclusively, or for the most part tonight, just in terms of even if you weren't normally a running football team, that's going to be the go-to for a lot of teams around the WPIAL tonight. A lot of teams moved up their starts, some starting at 6 o'clock, 6:30 around the WPIAL, and even some late move-ups from talking with Don on the pregame to just 15 minutes prior to kickoff. We remain here slated to kick off about 5 minutes from right now. The North Hills Band still on the field, but it has gotten less breezy than it was when we first arrived here, Stu.
Yeah, I would say the wind is probably blowing at gusts, probably 15, 20 miles an hour. That will increase as the front gets closer to us. Everything is coming in from the northwest. So being that we're a little bit further north in the Pittsburgh landscape, we'll probably get it here maybe a little bit more than the southern counties will. But, yes, I don't think that we're going to see a lot of throwing of the football here tonight.
It is a picturesque view for us from midfield stripe high atop the press box here at Martirelli Stadium. And you can see that, I forgot, you can see it because you're watching on the Trib Live High School Sports Network as the North Hills Band is on the field. The lights of the standard across from us, and then the waxing or waning moon. I'm not sure what it's doing up there. But the sky, it looks very clear. There's not a foreboding-looking sky right now, despite what the radar says.
No, and that's the interesting thing. If you were to sit here and tell us that bad weather is coming, we wouldn't believe you if we didn't know the forecast, because it is absolutely gorgeous out here. A little bit warmer than you'd expect for mid-September. I would say the game time temperatures at kickoff are going to be right around 80, maybe upper 70s, a little bit of humidity in the air. So there will be a need for the trainers to make sure to keep their players hydrated. This will probably, in all likelihood, be the last week that these teams will have to deal with heat, as a cold front is coming in tonight, and it looked like, at least for the next couple of weeks, temperatures in the mid to upper 60s.
And I think everybody in southwestern Pennsylvania breathes a sigh of relief about that. We talk about North Hills as kind of being a traditional football school. They've been a big-time football school in the minds of many in Southwest PA for many, many years, but they have not won a playoff game since 2010, Steve. And in prepping for this football game, that really kind of stunned me, I'll be honest, when I saw that statistic. And Pat Carey, I think, has everybody excited about this. Peters Township, more of a soccer school. Everybody tends to think of the many, many championships that the Indians have won on the pitch. And it has kind of traditionally been a soccer school, not a big-time football program. But I think TJ Plack has folks thinking differently right now. The roster is expanding, and they are coming off a 7-4 season last year, off to this great 3-1 start and knocking off West Allegheny last week. The roster being so large is very unusual around the WPIAL in terms of football. You see a lot of football rosters because of concerns about safety and just kind of other opportunities for kids shrinking. We're down at Peters Township, I think, largely because of folks buying into TJ Plack and what he has done in the past and what he's doing now. A lot of kids say, hey, let's go be a part of that Peters Township football program.
Well, to your point, 2 weeks ago we did Steel Valley. There was 23 players on Steel Valley dressed for that football game, and that's a two-way powerhouse. And so that was stunning for me to see. We show up here and we watch Peters Township and how they warm up. They're very professionally run. TJ Plack does a great job, but there is a lot of white jersey out on the field.
78 players on their roster.
And very similar to West Allegheny. West Allegheny is thriving in that way too. And it's nice to see, because you talked about the pedigree of these programs. Probably Peters Township a little bit less than what North Hills is. You think of it with their pedigree and what the successes that they have had. I was stunned as well. No playoff win since 2010. They've made the playoffs a couple times since then, but they have not been able to kick the door down. Last year, 5-5, very mediocre. They lost to Moon. It wasn't a great loss late in the year. So I think Pat Carey, that's why so many people here in the North Hills are so excited about what Pat Carey's doing.
Yeah, and he definitely has the cheer section, the student section, massive. North Hills 19, they are all fired up. So we'll take a break, and we'll come back, and we'll bring you the opening kickoff. It's the video game of the week. You're watching WPIAL High School Football 2018, only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
There's a new fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or two. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind, since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements done with a rate as low as 3.29% APR, fixed for 7 years. Longer terms are available. Stop by, call 1-800-242-BANK, or visit dollar.bank. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired. Rate is for well-qualified borrowers and includes a discount with a maintained qualifying checking account. Not available for the refinance of a Dollar Bank loan, line, or mortgage of less than $15,000 in new money. Monthly payment of $13.34 per $1,000 borrowed. Other terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Equal housing lender.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveSYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Back at Mortarelli alongside Steve Nagler, Shelby Cassesi, Jess Levo, Justin Labar, everybody here from the Trib Live High School Sports Network as we get the video game of the week set to go. The North Hills Indians playing host to the Peters Township Indians, and we're talking about the size of that Peters Township roster and 77 or 78 players for third-year head coach TJ Plack. North Hills not quite as many kids on the roster, Steve, but that's because apparently there are 400 kids in the North Hills Indian marching band. Wow, were they impressive.
They were excellent, too. Very loud and really did a super job, and they're walking off the field right now. So we'll hear from them, I'm sure, at halftime.
hoping the weather stays away or at least skirts by quickly as we get set to kick things off here in week 4. Again, Peters Township 2-1 in their conference, the 5A Allegheny 8 conference. It is a unbeaten 5A Northern Conference, North Hills Indians. They are 3-0 in conference, 4-0 overall. Coming up for these two teams after this, it is another non-conference matchup for Peters Township. They will go home to take on the Cannon McMillan Big Macs before they get back to conference play coming up October 5th against Moon. And North Hills will get another non-conference game as well next week. They'll take on the Gateway Gators out in Monroeville. They'll get back to conference play October 5th as well. On the road to take on Scotty Heinauer's at Mars Planets. There's a ceremony occurring here at Martirelli Stadium. Josh Dobbs down on the football field.
Yeah, North Hills wins the toss. They defer, so the Peters Township Indians will start on offense first here tonight.
North Hills on the near sideline. The Indians and their crowd on the far sideline as you look at it with the camera. I don't know if you can see the crowd on the near side, but the North Hills side of Martirelli Stadium is just about completely full, and you got the Red Zone Crazies, I think they call themselves, up there. They've been up there for years and years. They have a cookout every Friday night. There's a football game here at Martirelli Stadium, and they have a great time. I've actually been up there and had a burger.
Is that right?
Yeah. They were very nice. About 6 or 7 years ago, but they've been doing that for decades.
It's a terrific vantage point.
It is. It's like sitting on the roof at the Wrigley Field back when you could do it back in the day.
I got a pretty good look at how packed this stands is on the North Hills side. Very exciting time of
Casilli back to the near boundary for Peters Township. They wait for the kick from Danny Wagner, the 5'9" senior kicker for North Hills. We're just about set to get some football underway. I'm guessing they'll try to kick away from Casilli on the run-up. No, they'll kick it right at him. And that's going to go right back through the end zone for a touchback. But prior to that, a whistle and a flag. And I think the Indians, the North Hills Indians that is, may have been in a little bit of a hurry. Might have been offsides on this kick.
Big leg by Daniel Wagner, the place kicker for the North Hills Indians. He got a little bit of a benefit of kicking with the wind. It's one of the things that head coach Pat Carey opted for when he declined.
And give Danny Wagner credit. He's trying not to give up those 5 yards.
Yeah.
He was trying to go right back and kick it from the 40 again. He's like, what? He's getting a fresh football. He'll tee it up at the 35-yard line. Peters Township will work from left to right. Wagner has it on the tee one more time. Although I'll tell you this, he had plenty of leg on that first kick. We'll see if he gets it to the touchback area again. On the run up, we're underway. And he will send Casilli back, takes it at the 1-yard line. Casilli up over the 10, 15, 20. Cuts up the middle of the football field, 25-30, out over the 30 to the 35. Still on his feet, runs away from one tackler down the far sideline. Josh Casilli to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, and he's finally tackled at the 18-yard line as the Indians drag him down from behind. Timmy Sudo not giving up on the play in terms of special teams. What a return from Josh Casilli. They'll mark him down at the 17-yard line. It is an 82-yard opening kickoff return, and the Peters Township Indians very much in business to start it off.
Well, let's take a look at the starting offensive lineup for the Peters Township Indians. Logan Pfeiffer, the quarterback. Adrian Williams, the back. Corbin Hondru, the tight end. The 3 wideouts, Casilli, Michael McDonald, and Jackson McCloskey will run down the offensive line after this first play.
Adrian Williams here, the sidecar for Pfeiffer, and he'll take the handoff. 1st and 10, pounds it inside the 15, and down near the 11-yard line. A win on first down for Peters Township. And the tackle made on the play, Mertezi. He'll be very important both ways for North Hills on the interior of those lines.
Offensive line for the Peters Township Indians. Left tackle Logan Clark. Ian Shadari is the left guard. Center is Shane O'Connell. Grant Nelson, the right guard. Rob Corrado, the right tackle.
Williams to the right of Pfeiffer. He'll take the handoff and go straight up the gut. And this time, much tougher sledding. He'll get inside the 10 to about the 9-yard line. He'll be shoved backward again. As this time it's Ronald Novosedliak on the tackle. And he will stop him about 1.5 yards, 2 yards shy of the lead stick. So 3rd and 2 coming up for Peters Township. Opening drive. They are inside the 10-yard line of the North Hills Indians. Minigun for Pfeiffer. 2 receivers to the near. Now they'll motion the 3rd there. Give it to Williams again. He's got the first down and picks his way inside the 5 down near the 4-yard line. Tripped up on the play by Tomasic. It was Majeski on the carry. Majeski, the lone setback. He'll take the handoff. Dives for the goal line. He's not going to get there. Caught in the air defensively by Mertezi and company. And about the 1-yard line, it'll be 2nd down and goal just inside the 2.
Good effort, and I like the quickness that this Peters Township Indians offense is operating in.
Majeski again, the lone setback, and again he'll take the handoff. This time keeps his feet, lowers the shoulder in the hat, plows his way toward the goal line, and finally the VAR official does signal touchdown. And Peters Township breaks out on top with 10:04 to play in the opening period on a 2-yard touchdown run for Ryan Majeski.
Well, to me, Sam, that was all set up by that outstanding kickoff return by Josh Casilli. Obviously, excellent field position, but Majeski just keeping his pad level low and keeping those legs churning. Big opening touchdown.
Extra point is up, and the extra point is good, and the Peters Township Indians lead it by a score of 7-0. An impressive start for Peters Township in the Battle of the Indians. We'll take a break. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018, only here on the all-new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of lawn and garden and nursery supplies at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries a variety of soils, mulch, fertilizer, insecticides, annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, and tropical plants. While you're there, shop their many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, new and name brand furniture, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. You'll be amazed at their selection, prices, and quality of goods. Open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
Brian Brusdowitz on the run-up for the Peters Township Indians, who lead 7-0, kicking toward Brennan. Tyler Brennan will watch it bounce at the 5, and he'll watch it roll all the way into the end zone for the touchback. Tomasic was back on the near side, but the North Hills Indians will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line, trailing 7-0.
Yeah, 4 plays and 22-yard drive after the 82-yard kick return by Casilli, capped off by the 2-yard touchdown run by Ryan Majeski.
North Hills works from right to left. Tyler Brennan checks in and saw him during warm-ups and as well here, moving with no issues in terms of injury. And he will line up, it looks like, with Tomasic to his right, maybe a Wildcat here from North Hills to start things off. We'll get movement up front as Peters Township shifts their defense. But a false start goes against North Hills, so 1st and 10 at the 20 becomes 1st and 15 back at the 15. So it is Brennan at quarterback for North Hills. Pauling still at the near sideline. One receiver wide this way is Luke Holbert. Brennan in the gun. But again, movement up front. And again, whistles and flags. His 2nd straight false start call goes against the North Hills Indians. They haven't even run a play, and they're 10 yards behind the sticks. It'll be 1st and 20 from the 10.
Well, you never want to be behind the sticks in general as an offensive football team, but especially the way this team is built. This is a a running football team, when you're behind the sticks, is going to really challenge them.
Backfield is Brennan. He's got Tomasic to his right. Now they'll just run the cat there. Brennan tries to get wide to the near boundary. He's tripped up before he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Flag on the play, though, back at the 7-yard line. Adrian Williams there defensively. The officials will conference at the 5. I'm not sure if any illegal block in the back will go against North Hills.
Yeah, with the
Peters Township will decline the penalty, take the result of the play, which is a loss. Actually, they'll give him forward progress somehow, a gain of 1. Set up a 2nd down and 19. Brennan back in the gun. Or the cat, if you will. Now he motions the receiver from near to far, and he'll try to run the same play the other side. Tyler Brennan gets a block, gets out over the 15 out near the original line of scrimmage at the 20. And he's tackled on the play out there by Seth Luxick.
Little student body right there as Tyler Brennan tried to run to the left side of the formation on the first play. This time running to the right side behind right guard Leary and Murtezi, and Trevor Hartman, the right tackle, will run down the offense for the North Hills Indians after this play.
Damon Thompson out there as well, trying to be a lead blocker. Tomasic again back there with Brennan in the gun. And again, they'll motion receiver from near to far. Snap, a little trouble for Brennan, and that is going to hinder his movement as he's going to be bottled up by a host of Peters Township Indians. Corbin Hondrew there, along with Josh Casilli, and that's going to be a loss on 3rd and 9 of 2 to make it 4th and 11, and that is not the opening drive the North Hills Indians were looking for. They'll get set to punt the football away. Dan Wagner does the kicking and the punting. Back deep for Peters Township. McCall to the near boundary. Casilli to the far hash. High, short kick. And it's going to come straight down at the 45. Take a nice North Hills bounce and roll into Peters Township territory, and finally roll to a stop inside the 35 at the 33-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 there for the Peters Township Indians, up 7-0. An impressive offensive start for them, but maybe even more impressive defensively. They shut down Tyler Brennan and company in their opening drive.
Well, we talked about how much better they are on that side of the football, only giving up just about 13 points per game so far. Certainly they were helped by those 2 false start penalties to put North Hills behind the sticks. And a good starting field position for Peters Township here as they will snap this football at their own 33-yard line.
Football on the near hash as the Indians work from left to right. Sidecar here is Majewski. For the sophomore quarterback Pfeiffer, he's got 2 receivers to the far boundary, 1 to the near on 1st and 10 from his own 33. Majewski straight ahead. Pounds his way up over the 35 to about the 37. Tackled on the play down low by Seamus Connolly. Gain of 4, sets up a 2nd down and 6. Mark the football at the 37-yard line.
We saw Adrian Williams start this football game for Peters Township, but since then it's been 4 straight runs for Majewski.
He's to the left of Pfeiffer here on 2nd and 6. He'll take the handoff, come to the near sideline, gets a block. He's out over the 40 to the 42-yard line. Wrestled to the ground on the play there by Ethan Marker. But again, another win. It's going to set up a 3rd and 1, give him 5 on that carry.
Excellent kick-out block that time by Grant Nelson, who was pulling on the play and left a good block on Joseph Ryan to give Majewski the big hole.
3rd and short here for the Peters Township Indians. Football on the near hash. Majewski takes the handoff. He's got the 1st down and more. Great job in the open field by Tyler Brennan. It looked like Majewski was going to get a bunch, but Brennan comes up and makes a nice open field tackle. Can't stop him from getting the 1st down, but he stops him from getting the big chunk I was looking at right there next.
Peters Township having a lot of success running the football early behind that big physical offensive line.
Majewski will get a breather. Adrian Williams checks in. He is the lone setback. Now Pfeiffer talks to the offensive line. Now he backs up, waits for the snap. Sidecar to his left is Williams. Williams takes the handoff. He's got a hole right off left guard. Pounds his way forward for 3. Out to the 48-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Well, what a luxury these two coaches have in having depth at the running back position. We've seen both Adrian Williams and Majewski be very successful so far through the first 5.5 minutes of play here in the first quarter.
2nd and 7, football closer to the near hash than the far. Pfeiffer's first pass of the football game is caught on the run by Aiden McCall. He'll be very close to the lead stick. It depends on the spot. They will say he does have exactly enough. Give him 7 on the catch. It'll be another first down for the Peters Township Indians. And that was a nice throw by the sophomore QB.
Well, that was a great throw right on the outside shoulder of Aiden McCall. And McCall's a good one. 5'9", 160 pounds, junior.
2 receivers near, 2 receivers far for a fight for the gun. Now he motions the receiver. A little jet sweep handoff coming here from McCall. McCall makes a spin move at the 40, gets inside the North Hills 40 to about the 39-yard line before he's tackled on the play by Keegan Bryant. But again, just Peters Township, I should say, very, very smooth and very, very crisp here in the first 2 offensive positions.
Just a jet sweep that goes in the books as a completion for Logan Pfeiffer because he kind of throws the football forward. And McCall able to get 6 yards on first down.
Sets up a 2nd and 4 from the 39-yard line. Motion receiver from far to near. Williams, the lone setback, play action fake it to him, set up a bubble screen near side. Running with the football after the catch is Casilli. He gets his first touch of the ball game in terms of the offense, and he'll gain 4 down to the 35-yard line.
First and 10, Peters Township.
We're going to send it down to Shelby Cassesi here after this play is run. It's 1st and 10 for Peters Township at the North Hills 35. And Shelby, if you can hear me, we're going to send it down to you right after this conclusion of this one. This will be Williams getting hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. Great penetration there by Damon Thompson for North Hills to stop it. Shelby, what do you have for us as the wind comes in?
Out here off to impressive starts to the season. Peters Township 4-0. Peters Township 3-1. North Hills 4-0. And what's so impressive about that North Hills start is that they lost their best passer, receiver, and rusher to graduation last year. So we've had a few guys spill into some new roles. Heller Brennan and Tyler Tomasic. As running backs have been doing a run of the workload on offense, as well as new quarterback Dylan Calling. And now both of these teams are also going to be looking for an elusive playoff win. Peters Township hasn't won a playoff game since 2003. North Hills, not a win since 2010, although they have made it since then. But they didn't make the playoffs last year. Pretty rare for that team. So both teams playing here tonight, whoever wins is going to be playing for both a confidence booster and also a resume builder. Back to you guys.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Shelby. And while the rain comes in, and Shelby will run for cover right now, it's a heavy rain. It's very windy. Came out of nowhere. Meanwhile, we saw Peters Township almost, Steve, get away with a false start. And then finally, the North Hills coaching staff, the North Hills fans, and the entire football team really finally get the call they were looking for. It was incomplete. Long pass attempted for Pfeiffer, looking for McCluskey down the near hash, but a 5-yard penalty on the false start. And here they go, as this is Williams taking the handoff on his 2nd and long. He'll bang his way forward down to about the North Hills 41-yard line. Heavy rain now. It's going to be 3rd and long coming up for Peters Township.
And we'll see how long this rain. I mean, it literally came in so quickly. When we went on the air, it was all blue sky. Now it's absolutely pouring.
Less than 2 minutes ago, you could see a bright moon in the sky straight out of the press box here at Martinelli Stadium. It's going to be 3rd and 17. Mark the football at the 42. Big play here for Peters Township. The rain has died down just as quickly as it came. Here's Pfeiffer throwing deep down the near sideline. He has his man inside the 15. A fantastic catch made by Corbin Hodrew. He's got a huge gain on a first down for Peters Township.
Just a simple down and out and a great pass by Logan Pfeiffer. He's only a sophomore, but he looks really comfortable throwing the football. Really nice pattern run by Hondrew, the tight end. He was able to reel it in before getting pushed out of bounds.
At the 12-yard line, 1st and 10, Peters Township. The rain has almost come to a stop. And this time, Williams on the carry, met at the line of scrimmage. He will go nowhere. Tremendous penetration by Foskey on the play defensively, along with Damon Thompson, who's been splendid for North Hills in this football game. It'll be 2nd down and 10 from the exact same 12-yard line for Peters Township.
Well, it's good to see Williams get up. As you see on this replay, as he runs to the right side of the formation, at the very end of this play, he kind of gets bent back, and that left knee gets bent kind of strangely, but he is okay.
Rain comes back in here on 2nd and 10 from the 12. This is Williams again. Try the left side. Tough sledding here. He's going to bang his way forward for a couple. Flag comes in from the far sideline, right at the line of scrimmage in that area where expected to usually be a holding call. We'll wait and see what the man in the white hat says as the officials conference. They're going to call something against North Hills.
They might call a horse collar.
Call personal foul, face mask.
Face mask, yeah. I thought it was either going to be a horse collar. There was one of the North Hills Indians defensively that almost kind of tried to pull it the backside of Adrian Williams.
I'm sure you can see this on the video. It is raining buckets. That'll be half the distance to the goal penalty. And they'll mark the football down at about the 6-yard line. 2nd down for Peters Township. They have to get inside the 5 to the 3. So let's call it 2nd and 3 from the 6. Lone setback is Majeski. He is behind Pfeiffer here and takes the handoff. Straight ahead. He's inside the 5. Lowers the shoulder, bulls his way forward in a rugby scrum. He's going to get very close to the lead stick as the rain now comes harder.
With the rain has come a reduction in temperature, too. We've probably felt a good 10 degrees difference in the air temperature.
3rd and about a foot. Majeski takes the handoff, hitting the backfield, breaks a tackle, and pounds into the end zone for the Peters Township touchdown. His 2nd of the game. And this one from 4 yards out. And with 2:23 to play in the opening period, Peters Township now leads this football game 13-7 in a driving rainstorm, 13-0 in a driving rainstorm.
Well, Majeski runs so hard, that time running to the right side behind Grant Nelson and Rob Corrado, and he does not go down on first contact. He is a tough, very tough runner.
On to attempt the extra point is Brudzowitz. That kick is up, and that kick is good. And Peters Township leads at 14-0. You're watching WPIAL football only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Make Chick-fil-A Robinson your destination for a fast and tasty breakfast. Chick-fil-A Robinson offers a variety of breakfast sandwiches, including sausage, bacon, or, of course, chicken. Breakfast is served hot and fresh daily, featuring our handmade biscuits. Need to feed a crowd or a tailgate on Sunday? Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering has got you covered with hot or reheatable chicken trays. Visit our catering website at www.cfarobinsoncaters.com to book your business or social event today. Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering. We deliver.
If you're a
Brennan and Tomasic back deep for North Hills to accept this kickoff from Brudzowitz, who's also a soccer player for the Peters Township Indians. He's got it teed up closer to the far hash as the rain lightens considerably. Here he is on the run-up. Peters Township on top, 14-0. Brudzowitz will send Brenner back to his 1-yard line. Here he comes up the far hash, 10, 15, 20, out over the 20, 25, and out near the 28-yard line. Flag comes in from the back judge. The back judge shows a nice arm right there, Steve. He threw that flag 15 yards on the run.
He had a little wind behind him.
Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, serving you with 5 convenient locations in the South Hills. They have multiple wash packages available to keep your car looking its very best. Give your car the works to give it that showroom shine with the added tire dressing and Magic Repel. And remember, there's an easier way to wash your car. Check them out online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you to keep your car clean, shiny, and dry every time. Penalty goes against the North Hills Indians. They'll be backed up inside their own 20 at the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 there. They're already in a 14-0 hole. Brennan back in the cat. Again, trouble with the snap. Bobbles it, gets control of it, and bounces his way to the near sideline over the 20, the 25-yard line. They're going to mark him down at the 26. It's Majewski on the tackle defensively. Mark him down at the 27. That's a 12-yard pickup and a run for Brennan. And I think the play wasn't even designed to go there.
Well, it's a great tackle by Ryan Majewski. If he doesn't make that tackle because of the good block out front by Keegan Bryant, that would have been a longer gain than 10 yards.
There's Brennan quickly out of the Wildcat again. He'll go off right guard and bang his way forward up over the 30 to the 34-yard line. Stopped on the play there by Hondru and company.
Brennan is a real special athlete. We talked about the season he had coming into before he got injured in the third game of the year. He had 13 touchdowns in those first 3 wins.
North Hill's really looking for an answer at this point. 90 seconds to play in the opening period. They trail at 14-0. 2nd and 3 for Brennan and company. This time he'll hand the football off to Joseph Ryan, and Ryan is going to go nowhere. In fact, he'll lose yardage. He gives ground back inside the 30. Hayden there defensively for Peters Township, but that's going to be a loss. And set up a 3rd down and 8 back at the 29-yard line.
Really good win at the point of attack by Peters Township. I think that was Ian Chaudhry that got the penetration to force that play behind the line of scrimmage.
Inside a minute to play in the opening quarter. Here's Brennan out of the cat. Looking for the edge near side. 30. Stiff arms one player and then gets shoved out of bounds out at about the 33-yard line. He's going to get, I think, very close to the lead stick. Let's see where they spot this football. They will move the sticks. A huge run by Brennan. He finishes it with a big stiff arm, and he gets North Hills a very important 1st down. Stops the clock as he goes out of bounds with 41 seconds to play in the opening period.
Yeah, that was just flat out will, Sam. It looked like there were enough Peters Township defenders to get him before he got to the 33-yard line, or 35-yard line. He ran through a couple of tackles, and you mentioned that stiff arm to get him a couple extra yards.
Now Tomasic will check in. He'll run the Wildcat. Tomasic cuts it back inside at the 40. He'll get inside or outside the 40 to about the 42-yard line before he's wrapped up on the play. Good play there defensively by Logan Clark. That will probably be the final play of this opening period.
Tomasic, a much different type of runner, much smaller. He's younger. He's just a sophomore. 5'6", 145 on the roster, whereas Brennan brings 6 feet 1 inches tall and 180 yards.
At the end of 1, it is Peters Township 14, North Hills 0. We will change sides, take a break, come back. 2nd quarter action from Martorelli, where hopefully we've seen the worst of the weather already. Fingers crossed. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018 on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up.
Back at Martorelli alongside Steve Nagler. Shelby Cassesi took refuge from the rain, but I think she's back down there on the sideline. Indeed she is. And we'll have more from her coming up as we make our way through this 2nd quarter. Peters Township on top of North Hills by a score of 14-0 as we get set to start period number 2. But the North Hills Indians finally moving the football offensively, and it looks like pretty good stuff right now.
Well, and when you have an athlete like Tyler Brennan, you're never out of a football game. Even if you don't throw the ball an awful lot, he can get you yards in chunks, and we've seen that. Yeah, gains of 9, 10, 7, and 9 for Tyler Brennan in the 1st quarter, and they're on the march.
Football on the far hash at the 42-yard line, 2nd and 7. This is Brennan after the breather. And he will pick his way forward to the 45, gains 3 on that play. We'll set up a 3rd down and 4. There defensively for the Penn Hills Indians was Corbin Hondru. Peters Township, a pair of Ryan Majewski touchdown runs in that 1st quarter. They lead at 14-0. One of them set up by a monster kickoff return to open the football game for Peters Township by Josh Casilli. Big play here for North Hills, trailing 14-0, facing a 3rd and 4 from their own 45. Brennan in the cat. He's got a sidecar to his left. He will follow the blocker, and he is going absolutely nowhere. Backside pressure, and a great play defensive there by Seth Luksic for Peters Township. He will drop Brennan for a loss back to the 42. That's a loss of 3 and a 4th down punting situation for Dan Wagner and company.
Well, Peters Township was able to get good push from the left side of their defensive formation. Michael Payton actually came up and forced Brennan to slow down, which allowed Luksic to track him down from behind.
Casilli and McCall back here. This is going to go to the far hash. And that will be McCall up the far sideline, still on his feet, breaks the tackle, 40, coming back to the near sideline. At the 45, 50, McCall's got a string of blockers in front of him, 30, 25. McCall is going to take it to the 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, touchdown Peters Township. Aiden McCall, a punt return for a touchdown, and special teams has been huge for the Peters Township Indians. They now lead it 20-0, 10:32 to play in the opening half.
Aiden McCall, we've seen the speed from him earlier in this game, catches the punt on the run, eludes one of the tacklers early, and comes back towards the middle of the football field. As he eludes the tackle from William Fonzie, all of a sudden he picks up just a load of white shirts in front of him, and he is able to waltz into the end zone.
Brudzowitz's extra point out of the hold of Pfeiffer is up, and it is good. And with 10:32 to play in the opening half, Peters Township out in front of the North Hills by a score of 21-0. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018 on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, serving you with 5 convenient locations in the South Hills. They have multiple wash packages available to keep your car looking its very best. Give your car the works to give it that showroom shine with the added tire dressing and Magic Repel. And remember, there's an easier way to wash your car. Check them out online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you to keep your car clean, shiny, and dry every time.
Log on
Back at Martirelli, Peters Township on top, 21-0 after the 73-yard punt return for a touchdown by Aiden McCall. And Brudzowic, I'm glad I asked him, his coach, several of his teammates, people in the bleachers, how to pronounce his name. On the run up again, he's been doing a lot of work. This time we go high and short to the far hash. Bounces at the 23 and bounces over the head of Tomasic. Loose football inside the 10. Peters Township trying to pounce on it, and another special teams play. I think Peters Township has this football. No, it's a touchback.
Wow.
It's downed in the end zone by North Hills in what would have been a serious disaster. Instead, they'll get the football 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line, trailing 21-0.
And you know what, Sam? The only thing that kept that from being a Peters Township touchdown is that the ball got into the end zone, because I think Peters Township fell on that football. But North Hills averting a huge mistake there.
Almost another monster special teams play for Peters Township. They have a kickoff return that set up their opening touchdown and a punt return for a touchdown in this game to lead it 21-0 with 10:27 to play in the opening half. And North Hills is going to try and regroup right here. Pat Carey wants to talk to his offensive unit. We'll keep it here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and remind you that coming up at the half, it'll be Don Rebel and Chris Harlan with the Trib Live halftime show. We'll talk about some of the top coaches around the WPIAL over the course of WPIAL history and some of the really top coaches right now. 2 big ones going at it tonight as Bob Palco and Jim Render get together down in the South Hills.
That's going to be a dandy. There, pretty much any night in the WPIAL on Friday night in the Allegheny 8 is going to feature at least 2, if not 3, really good football games. This is a very tough conference.
Fantastic stuff there. Here for Peters Township, a 21-point lead. If you're North Hills, you have a little something to build off in that you were able to move the football the last couple of times you had it. Got it picked up several first downs on that last drive, so something to build on, but you got to kind of gather yourself. It looks like they're a little bit panicky about being behind 21-0. Still a lot of time left in this football game.
A lot of football left, and if they can go on a scoring drive, I think Tyler Brennan's looked really good so far. He has gained some significant yardage, but they're going to need to score and get a stop before halftime.
Rain has come back out of the timeout. 1st and 10 from their own 20 for North Hills. Brennan in the cat. He's got a receiver to each boundary. He will follow his lead blocker to the near, up the hash, trying to bounce it outside. Great tackle in the open field. That is Aiden McCall. Boy, is he a special player for the Peters Township Indians on both sides of the football. And a 1-yard pickup for Brennan. It'll set up a 2nd down and 9.
Well, McCall was able to get off his block and extend that play, kind of forced Brennan to the sideline where he made a really nice tackle in the open field.
2nd and 9, football on the near hash. Brennan in the gun. Sidecars Joe Ryan. 2 receivers to the near boundary. He'll hand the football off to Ryan. Ryan over left guard. Surges forward for 1, maybe 2 on the play. He's tackled by Logan Clark for Peters Township. You get out to about the 24. Let's give him a gain of 3. Set up a 3rd down and 6 at the 24-yard line. Football remains closer to the near hash.
And I wasn't sure if we might see traditional quarterback Dylan Pauling come into this football game. Looks like Tyler Brennan's going to stay in there and commandeer this offense on 3rd down.
Rain now back and fairly heavy. Still no sign of any L-I-G-H-T. I won't say the word. Brendan wants to throw for the first time in the football game. Flushed out of the pocket, goes back to the far boundary, and now he's got open field in front of him. Here he goes, tucks it, turns upfield. He's got the 1st down and more. Just tripped up at the 35-yard line. The tackle is made on the play by Adrian Williams. Might have been a touchdown-saving tackle. Flag on the play.
I think this might come back. I think they might call a block in the back on North Hills.
Indeed they will.
And you know what? I'm not sure about this call, Sam. To my eye from up here, I think that the Peters Township defender just slipped and fell on the slippery surface with all this rain. A little bit of a poor break for the North Hills Indians, and it's going to be 3rd down again, and they're going to snap it from the same spot.
Yeah, it would have been a 1st down out about the 35. Instead, it'll be 3rd down and still 6 from the 24. That spot foul block in the back. As we get a big 3rd down play coming up here for North Hills, trailing 21-0. This is Tomasic in the Wildcat. He tries to pick his way forward, and Peters Township swarms all over him. Great job in the middle by the interior of that Peters Township Indian defense. Majewski leading the charge, but the North Hills Indians going to be forced to punt again. A loss of 1 there for Tomasic. We'll bring up a 4th down at 7 as the rain comes even heavier. I think they'll kick away from McCall here, but that means you're kicking to Josh Casilli. Pick your poison. Nice kick here by Danny Wagner. High there. It'll chase McCall back to his 30 and bounce inside the 30 to the 25. Daniel Wagner's got the answer for North Hills. A booming punt that really flips the field for North Hills.
52 yards on that boot by Wagner, and again had a little bit of a helping wind, but big leg as we've seen from Wagner so far.
Just coming down in sheets here. I haven't heard any thunder or seen the bad thing. And it's nice and dry here. I don't know where Shelby Cassesi is right now. She got an umbrella. She's in business. We'll check in with Shelby down on the sideline coming up later on in the broadcast. 1st and 10 for Peters Township, up 21-0. Pfeiffer in the gun. Gives it straight ahead for Majewski. Majewski out over the 25 to the 27, 28, maybe even the 29-yard line. That was actually a gain of 4. Tomasic on the tackle. Somehow it rains harder. I keep thinking, well, that's as hard as it can rain.
It is pouring, and just watching the band for North Hills in the far end zone. They're scrambling.
Here's Pfeiffer to throw in a driving rainstorm, and his intended receiver out at the midfield stripe has tripped up. He was looking for Casilli. He got his legs tangled up with Keegan Bryant. A flag comes in. 2 flags come in.
And again, I think that the 2 players, just Bryant and Casilli, just got their feet tangled up. A little bit of a bad break for North Hills and Keegan Bryant. I don't think it was done on purpose, but he did interfere, and thus the yellow flag.
And so the mark-off will give Peters Township a first down, spot the football out at the 43-yard line. 1st and 10 there for Peters Township, up 21-0, 7:41 remaining in the opening half for Martirelli Stadium. Football on the far hash. Pfeiffer in the gun. First back through and running with the football there is Luksic. Tough sledding for Luksic. Good penetration that time from the North Hills defense. Jeff Baer knifes through. Give Luksic forward progress of about a half a yard, maybe a whole yard. Set up a 2nd down and 9 from the 45-yard line. What's the sense of even wiping off that football, Steve Nagler? You might as well take it and dunk it down in a barrel of water. 2nd and 9 from the 45. Pfeiffer in the gun again. And he will hand it off to Luksic. Luksic bounces it outside up to the midfield stripe in a shirt tackle on the far hash. And outside that far hash, stops him from taking that to the house for the touchdown. Great job to hang on by Dylan Pauly.
Yeah, Pauly was, if he didn't have Luksic by the jersey, Luksic would have been all the way in the end zone after that play.
Spotted at the North Hills 46, 1st down 10, Peters Township. Pfeiffer again in the gun. 2 receivers to the far boundary, 1 to the near. He's got a sidecar to his right. And he will hand it to Luksic. Luksic bounces it outside. He's got to win on 1st down again. Stays in bounds. Turns it up inside the 40, inside the 35. And another Peters Township 1st down. And the Indians are at the 34-yard line, 1st down and 10.
Luksic is the 3rd running back we've seen for Peters Township tonight. Williams, Majewski, now Luksic. Luksic 3 carries for 22 yards.
Now he'll get a breather as Williams will check back in as the sidecar for Pfeiffer. 2 receivers to the far boundary. And North Hills has to talk it over. Another timeout for the North Hills Indians. 6:30 to play in the opening half. 21-0, Peters Township on top. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018, only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Log on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest high school football news during this week in the WPIAL, only here on the new Trib Live High School Sports Network. Join Don Rebel and other members of the Trib Live High School Sports Network team as it visits with WPIAL football coaches, plus they run down the upcoming schedule and preview the weekend's top high school football games. That's this week in the WPIAL, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. this fall, only on the new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Back at Martirelli Stadium alongside Steve Nagler. Shelby Cassesi down on the field at Martirelli. Jess Levo pushing the buttons here in the booth. And the boss is in the house as well, Justin LaBar. 21-0, Peters Township on top. I think we once did a baseball game in rain like this out of West Allegheny. This is much more football weather, but it is interesting weather indeed. 1st and 10 for Peters Township. They lead it 21-0. And the handoff here will go to Williams. He comes back to the near side, and that time Tomasic stepping up defensively. He'll lead the charge. It'll be a loss of 3 on the play, back to the 38-yard line.
Tomasic was there, and I think it was McDonough there as well. Just good job by the North Hills defense. Come up from the right side of that defensive formation and make the play.
Dylan Pauling there as well defensively. Now Peters Township very content to just take their time and move this football down the field. But now behind the sticks, 2nd and 14 from the North Hills 38-yard line. Play clock down to 2. They will get the snap off. And straight ahead goes Williams. And he is going to be pulled backwards after picking up about 3, down to about the 36. Let's give him 2.
Curtis Foskey, one of the inside linebackers for the North Hills Indians, really shooting the gap there and making contact with Williams before he could get a whole lot of steam going through that line.
Big play here for the North Hills defense. They are in desperate need of a stop, trailing 21-0. 3rd and 12 for Peters Township. It's a short 12. Pfeiffer will hand this football off. Williams bangs his way down inside the 35 to the 31-yard line. And I think maybe right now TJ Plack thinking it's 4 down territory, Steve Nagel.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think TJ Plack would probably prefer his sophomore quarterback Pfeiffer to throw in a 4th and 7 than 4th and 11 or 12, which is what they had before. So good gain by Williams, 5 yards on 3rd down, and now it's a little bit more manageable, 4th and 7 at the 31.
Majewski will check in the backfield as the sidecar for Pfeiffer on 4th and 7 from the North Hills 31. Peters Township on top, 21-0. And Peters Township is going to have to call timeout now. They were just waiting for that clock to tick down with 4:24 to play in the half.
And if you're TJ Plack, I think partly it's a big down. It's 4th down and 7, but you probably partly take that timeout just hoping that maybe in the minute that you have that the rain slows down
it does stop and go so very quickly, and it's been very, very impressive. Yeah. Some of the top athletes in the WPIAL are featured every week right here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Log on to our website this fall and check out which athletes we are talking to. 4th and 7 for Peters Township from the North Hills 31-yard line. 4:24 to play, opening half. The Peters Township Indians leading 21-0. Huge play here, I think, if you're North Hills to stay in this football game. Not just from a scoring standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint. Pfeiffer in the gun. Majewski the sidecar. Casilli wide to this near boundary. Wants to throw to Casilli. Bubble screen. Might have been there, but he couldn't hold on to the pass in the driving rainstorm. Brendan and Tomasic there defensively. And the North Hills Indians get the stop they so desperately needed. They'll take over on downs. 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard line.
Well, you're not going to see that very often. Casilli, one of the top wide receivers in the WPIL, just took his eye off the football. The wet pigskin didn't help. That's the first incomplete pass thrown by Pfeiffer, and not his fault.
Not only is it wet, that ball's got to be heavy. That's how wet the ball is. 1st and 10. And now we will see Pauling back here at quarterback for the first time tonight. More traditional running the football here and pounding his way straight ahead, spinning ahead is Foskey. And he's going to get a win of about 5 yards on 1st and 10 for North Hills out to the 36-yard line as the Indians bring in Pauling for the first time in this football game offensively. It'll be 2nd down at 5, football on the near hash at the 36. It's Foskey, the deep back, in that broken eye. Pauling will turn it, hand it to him. Looking for a block, trying to bounce it outside. Turns the corner and picks up about 3 out to the 39-yard line. It'll set up a 3rd down and very manageable, too.
Now, Foskey runs hard. He is, like you said, a more conventional running back. Got good speed. He's, big, strong. He's about 5'11", 200 pounds, and running behind the left side of that offensive line, Novoselic and Biswick.
Bryant wide to the far boundary. This will be Foskey. Cuts it back away from a tackler in the backfield. Pounds his way forward, out over the 40. And I think they might have to measure here. Nope, they'll say 1st down. He gets exactly what he needed. Needed 2, got 2. So 3 carries, 10 yards for Foskey. And a 1st down for the North Hills Indians with Pauling at quarterback.
I think it was a favorable spot for Foskey there. I thought he was maybe tackled about a half yard short of that 41-yard line.
Football closer to the far hash than the near. 3 minutes exactly to play in the opening half. Foskey, the deep back in the broken eye. Play action fake. Pauling wants to throw. He lost the football. It's on the turf. And he's going to get back on it because the Peters Township defender there was trying to pick up the ball instead of just diving on it. And there with an opportunity was Hondrew. But nobody could hold on to the football. And it's going to be a huge loss for North Hills, but it could have been worse.
Well, Colton Hondrew is not going to want to watch, or Corbin Hondrew, I should say, not going to want to watch video footage of that play, as TJ Plack is going to want to make sure that moving forward, he's going to jump on that football.
So it'll be 2nd and 25. Slide the football all the way back to the 26-yard line. Here's Foskey. It's a play action fake, and Pauling will run the football, the quarterback keeper. But he will just get back to the line of scrimmage before he's bottled up by the Peters Township Indians. Great job down low there by Ian Shadari. And it'll be 3rd and 25 for North Hills. So it looks good. First time in the conventional offense, but the trouble holding on to the football has cost them, and they're way behind the sticks.
Well, they have found themselves in second and long, third and long, partly because of penalties, partly because of mistakes.
Wide to the far boundary goes Hulbert. Foskey, the deep back in the broken eye. He'll take the handoff, trying to bounce it outside, looking for the edge, and he will get some of it back out over the 30 to about the 32-yard line, but it's going to be a punting situation for North Hills. Clock continues to wind as we get down inside, probably a minute before they have to snap this football, so a step in the right direction there in terms of limiting what Peters Township is able to do when they get the football back. But sometimes they get the football back and they just run it back to the end zone if they're Aiden McCall. McCall and Casilli back deep. They'll be able to run this clock all the way down. 6 seconds on the play clock, 50 on the game clock. Snap a good one. Wagner gets it out of there. End over end kick. Takes a nice North Hills bounce. It'll be picked up by McCall at his own 24, and a great special teams tackle in the open field made by Tyler Tomasic.
The speed of Tyler Tomasic there, getting downfield and upending a really athletic Aiden McCall before McCall could get his feet underneath him and start heading upfield.
Had to give ground, and that allowed Tomasic to really just close on him. Spot the football at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 for Peters, but only 38 seconds remain in the half.
And I think Peters Township would just be very happy to take this to halftime with just under 40 seconds to go with a 21-0 lead.
Football just inside the far hash. Pfeiffer and company come out like a regular play. 2 receivers to the near boundary. Sidecar to the right of Pfeiffer. And this will just be a straight ahead handoff here as Williams will bang his way out over the 20 to about the 22, 23-yard line. What was it, Majewski on the carry? They do not have to snap the football again. Let's see if they do. They don't seem particularly interested in it. I think the half is going to come to a close. We'll tick down 10 seconds to play. And everybody will head back to the far side. We'll see if Shelby Cassesi is one of the head coaches. As this first half winds down, it is Peters Township with an impressive 21-0 lead over the North Hills Indians. Let's go down to Shelby Cassesi. She has Pat Carey down on the football
Coach, what's
field.
your message to the team in the second half here?
Let's eliminate mistakes. We took a lot of penalties. We gave them great field position. They had 2 special teams play that made a difference in the first half.
And as far as their run game, Peters Township has a great run game. What do you do to stop them?
It's hard. They can do both. So we're gonna attempt to stop them, but the quarterback can hurt you. In this rain, they'll probably run it more. So we'll just have to toughen up a bit in the second half.
Good luck in the second half, Coach. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Head coach of the North Hills Indians joining Shelby Cassesi down on the field at Martorelli Stadium as they go into the McCurry Fieldhouse, trailing 21-0 in the video game of the week here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. We're coming back with halftime stuff. If you're listening to high school football and watching high school football, only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Excella Health knows how important shoulders, knees, and ankles are to an athlete. Whether you're on the gridiron, under the boards, or walking a balance beam, being on the sidelines is never an option. Excella Health has a trusted team of orthopedic surgeons and athletic trainers right here in Westmoreland County. To learn more about Excella Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, visit them on the web at excellahealth.org. That's excellahealth.org.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using hashtag what drives you.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
For the most complete recap of Friday night's high school football action, tune in on your way home from the game to the WPIAL Scoreboard Show, only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Hi, this is Don Rebel. Join me in a cast of thousands for all the scores with recaps from the top games, plus we highlight the night on the Trib Live Roundtable. That's the WPIAL Scoreboard Show after the game on Friday nights on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and at tribhssn.triblive.com.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up.
There's a new fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or 2. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements. There's a new fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or 2. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements done with a rate as low as 3.29% APR, fixed for 7 years. Longer terms are available. Stop by, call 1-800-242-BANK, or visit dollar.bank. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired. Rate is for well-qualified borrowers and includes a discount with a maintained qualifying checking account. Not available for the refinance of a Dollar Bank loan, line, or mortgage of less than $15,000 in new money. Monthly payment of $13.34 per $1,000 borrowed. Other terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Equal housing lender.
Welcome back, Martorelli Stadium. Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, serving you with 5 convenient locations in the South Hills. They have multiple wash packages available to keep your car looking its very best. Give your car the works. Give it that showroom shine with the added tire dressing and Magic Repel. And remember, there's an easier way to wash your car. Check them out online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you to keep your car clean, shiny, and dry every time. Halftime of the video game of the week on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. The Peters Township Indians lead the North Hills Indians 21-0. Let's go to our man in the booth, Steve Nagler, with the scoring summary and some numbers from that first half.
Yeah, Peters Township got on the board very early after a really nice kick return by Josh Casilli, a 2-yard run at the 10:04 mark by Ryan Majewski. He gets in to give the Peters Township Indians a 7-0 lead. Majewski again at the 2:23 mark of the first quarter, 3-yard touchdown run there, and then the 73-yard punt return by Aiden McCall as he slips a couple of tackles and then picks up a caravan of white shirts as Aiden McCall goes 73 yards for the score. At 10:32 of the second quarter, Peters Township a 21-0 lead at the half.
Impressive stuff for the Peters Township Indians, but you heard Pat Carey say to Shelby as he was walking off the field to go into McCurry Fieldhouse, we've got to eliminate the mistakes as the North Hills Indians. They've shown some ability to run the football, both in the Wildcat with Brennan and Tomasic and in the conventional offense with Pauling handed the ball off to Foskey, but you can't keep kicking yourself or shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, too many big plays. That's opening kickoff return that gave Peters Township the excellent field position starting at the 22-yard line of North Hills, and then they give up the 73-yard punt return. I thought the other interesting thing that Pat Carey said is that this team, and he's right, the Peters Township Indians can beat you on the ground and they can beat you through the air. So you almost have to pick your poison a little bit, but they're going to run the football a lot in the second half, so they're going to have to stack the box to be better at tackling the ball
Yeah,
carrier.
I think you mix in the weather, you mix in a 21-point lead, and you mix in a sophomore quarterback, and it just makes sense that they would keep it on the ground in the second half. How did they do on the ground in the first half, Steve?
So looking at some individual numbers, the Peters Township Indians, 125 yards of total offense. Leading the way was Ryan Majewski, 10 carries, 35 yards, those 2 touchdowns. Adrian Williams, 10 carries, 22 yards. Seth Luksic, 3 carries, 22 yards. Logan Pfeiffer, 4 of 5 through the air, 46 yards. and not so great offensively for the North Hills Indians. They were led by Tyler Brennan. He is the leading rusher here tonight, 10 carries, 47 yards. Other than that, it's been pretty tough sledding for the North Hills Indians, only 48 yards of total offense for North Hills.
They've got to improve on that. Meanwhile, we'll get set to send it back to Don and Chris. It's the halftime show with the score. Peters Township on top here, 21-0. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018 on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Week 4 edition of the halftime show here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. I'm Don Rebel. This is Chris Harlan. Chris, a significant win a few weeks ago for Jim Render, the head coach of the Upper St. Clair Panthers. Victory number 400, not 300. Victory number 400 in his illustrious career. First ever WPL coach to reach that stratosphere. Only a couple, 3, have won over 300.
Yeah, he joins. The only other guys with more than 300 are Joe Hamilton, who coached at Blackhawk, and George Novak, we know from Woodland Hills, also coached at Steel Valley. But tonight, you start thinking about coaches, because one of the other games out there tonight is West Allegheny with Bob Palco, the coach with the most titles in WPL history, against Jim Render, who has 400 wins now, the most wins in WPL history. So it makes you start thinking a little bit about all the quality coaches that are out there on Friday nights across the WPIL.
Yeah, there are a lot of underrated coaches who have been doing this for a long time. Some who have won championships, some who haven't. Before we talk about the historically great all-time coaches, here this evening we're seeing T.J. Plack trying to make his own legacy at Peters Township, and Pat Carey trying to do the same thing at his alma mater here at North Hills.
Yeah, 2 coaches right now who have programs. I'd say both are heading in the right direction right now with what they've done.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, I was going to say undefeated. Peters Township with 1 loss coming into this 5A non-conference game. Both are playoff hopefuls. You know, when we're talking about the all-time greats, you mentioned the ones that have won over 300 games. There's a lot of great coaches who have won over 200 games, some who are still coaching and some who have hung up the whistle a long time ago.
Yeah, when you look at the top 10, you've got the 3 we mentioned. You've also got Jack McCurry, who you mentioned at North Hills. You got Chuck Wagner, Pat Tarquinio, who was at Beaver. People know the stadium there named after him. Phil Breidenbach at Newcastle back from the 30s. None of us saw him play or coach, but he won 7 titles back then. Jim Gary, Pete Antamarino, and Don Yanessa had been number 10 on the all-time win list. But this year, Bill Chirpak is now moving up there and creeping into the top 10.
And this is something that we had a chance to talk to Jim Render on our Wednesday show this week in the WPIL a few weeks ago. And it's really hard to wrap your head around nowadays, since this has become a year-round thing, coaching high school sports, that we're going to see these guys sticking around 20, 30, 40 years to pick up that amount of victory.
Right. I mean, 400 is something there's a good chance we'll never see again. And the one guy who everyone has said has a chance, Bill Chirpak, he'd have to coach about another 14 seasons, average 10 wins a year, and we asked him about that, and he kind of laughed it off and said, hey, I don't see myself coaching 14 more years, was his line. And he said he thought this was it. One guy, 400, and we'd never see another coach match Jim Render's achievement.
You mentioned some of the great historic coaches, current coaches right now, who are very, very good and who are climbing that list that maybe don't get a lot of the publicity they deserve. The Art Walkers of North Allegheny, the Terry Tottens of Central Cavalry.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other guys. Tom Loughran at Fox Chapel, also very high on the active list of winningest coaches. Ray Barrezo at West Mifflin, a name that he's won a lot of games there.
Hasn't won a championship. That's what hurts him.
Another one, Scott Heinauer. Yeah. He's kind of in that same boat. Has a really successful program at Mars, still looking for that WPL championship.
Any more you have, Mr. Harlan?
How about Jeff Matheny at Bethel Park? I think that's
historic win a few weeks ago.
He did, and that's a guy that you look what he's done at that program. They're a consistently good team every year, and I think you see quite a few out there. You see some young guys coming up, but it's a solid group right now.
Great coaches. These guys give a lot of effort, put a lot of time in. Some turning around programs. Richie Bowen, the coach at Hempfield, did a great job turning around his alma mater, Sarah Catholic, not once but twice. Elizabeth Forward, York. It's one thing to sort of land in a spot that has a great tradition and to keep on winning. It's another to sort of create your own success.
Right, and I got to give credit to those guys you see win more than one place. A guy like a Lucero at Montour who won at Seton LaSalle, now goes to Montour and is winning. A guy like Greg Perry who went from Seton LaSalle now over to Keystone Oaks. Both names, and you got to look at those guys, and they're able to package up what they've done and take it somewhere else and find that similar success.
Sort of like Chris Arlen. He has been writing here, there, and everywhere, and great success at all the places you've been.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the halftime show. We hope you enjoy the second half of Peters Township in North Hills. Right now, let's see what happened last week, the Week 3 highlights with Kylie Owak.
It's time to take a listen at this week's nominees for Call of the Week. I'm Kylie Owak, and we have 2 long rushing touchdowns to choose from. First up is James Dotson, who was the play-by-play man for Western Beaver at Riverside.
High formation. Second man through is Knoll. Right up the gut. First down and more. Inside the 25. Inside the 20. You're not going to get up. Touchdown, Riverside. That's Agger. Hunter Knoll.
1-2, 1-2. Check 1-2, 1-2.
23-0 Riverside lead.
Up next was our video game of the week, seeing Penn Hills visiting Mars. Our own Josh Roundtree gives us the call. All 80-plus yards of it with a big score from Penn Hills.
They will give it to Hardy. Hardy on the sweep. Up by Carmody. Cuts it back. Hardy still on his feet. Look out. Cuts it back. And it's a foot race now. Recchia trying to keep up with him. Hardy puts on the brakes. Reverses. Hardy still on his feet and will go all the way. 75 yards. Daquan Hardy to the house.
Leave a comment and share with your friends. Let us know your pick, and as always, join us on tribhssn.triblive.com Friday nights for more than 30 live football broadcasts.
Back at Martorelli alongside Steve Nagler, Shelby Cassesi is fighting the raindrops here at Martorelli Stadium. Peters Township on top, 21-0 at the break is the Peters Township. No, this is the North Hills Marching Band again. They've got their raincoats, all 275 of them. They're back out doing a fantastic job here. 21-0 Peters Township on top at the break as we get set to get you ready for the second half. TJ Plack will join Shelby before we get that second half kickoff. Meanwhile, we'll take a break, come back, and give you some scores from around the WPIAL. The score here is Peters Township 21, North Hills 0. It's WPIAL football only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Check out the new Trib Live High School Sports Network on social media this season for breaking news, scores, pictures, videos, links to our articles, and more. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram under the handle Trib Live HSSN. Get in the conversation on Facebook at facebook.com/TribLiveHSSN. And on our YouTube channel, you can find thousands of interviews with local student athletes and coaches, plus highlights and full games. The spot for Western Pennsylvania high school sports on social media this season is the new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDrivesYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Back at Martorelli alongside Steve Nagler, halftime. Peters Township on top of North Hills 21-0 as we fight some raindrops here, but no delays. That's the good news. No lightning delays. That's really what I was afraid of. I mean, we don't care if it rains. It just makes the football game more interesting. It has been a very well-played football game in terms of the Peters Township Indians. Scores from around the WPIAL from the Trib Live High School Sports Network website at tribhssn.triblive.com. Jeanette on top of Springdale by a score of 42-0. West Green leads Monessen 16-0. Elsewhere it is slide down here. It's 2 weeks ago we had the adventures of Lexi and Allie. When they went to Laurel Highlands, they were trying to go to Laurel. Good news is they made their way to the right football stadium tonight for Bishop Canterbury and Olsh. Bad news is, if you're a Bishop Canterbury fan, the Olsh Chargers leading Bishop Canterbury 20-0 in the rain out at Moon Tiger Stadium. Rochester 28, Union 0. Amana Christian leads GCC by a score of 20-7. Leechburg on top of Riverview 26-6. Bentworth 43, Mapletown 0. Clareton and Laurel in a good one. Clareton 7, Laurel 6. Stowe Rocks 42, Chartiers Houston 0. Washington and California. It's a California team I think a lot of folks thought was going to have a big, huge year. They started out very slow, but now they have an 18-14 lead on the Washington Little Prexies. Burgettstown 20, Southside 7. McGuffey 27, Beth Center 8. Sarah Catholic leads Carlinton 21-7. Avonworth putting one on Apollo Ridge 42-6. It is Steel Valley 35, Valley 0. Freedom leads Elwood City 14-0. Riverside 48, Shenango 13. South Allegheny leads Fort Cherry 20-6. Fraser and Brentwood in a tight one. It is the Commodores over the Spartans by 1.76. Shadyside Academy 49. How good is Shadyside Academy? They put the whaling on Steel Valley last week. 49-0 this week. They lead Neshannock. Seton LaSalle trails New Brighton 17-13. In boys 3A, it is Freeport 55, Uniontown 8, Aliquippa 20, Beaver Falls 0, one of the marquee matchups of this week. Saw that Beaver Falls football team last week. They are very good, so Aliquippa must be awesome, leading 20-0. Waynesburg trails South Park 35-7. Derry leads North Catholic in a marquee matchup tonight. Battle for first place. It is Derry 14, North Catholic 0. Yock leads Burrell 28-0. Deer Lakes leads Mount Pleasant 29-0. Central Valley trails Keystone Oaks 14-10. Elizabeth Ford and Quaker Valley. The Warriors lead Quaker Valley by a score of 7-6. South Fayette 14, Hopewell 0. West Mifflin leads Newcastle 7-0. Knock over Ambridge 27-0. Greensburg Salem leads Laurel Highlands 21-6. Bell Vernon in Indiana in a tight one. That is 14 all. Third period, it is Thomas Jefferson 20 by Trinity Hillers 0. Highlands leads Beaver 20-13. Montour trails Blackhawk 14-0. Connellsville trails Greater Latrobe 27-14. Woodland Hills looking for their first win on the season. They lead Baldwin 12-0. Fox Chapel 20, Hampton 6. West Allegheny 23, Upper St. Clair 0. So Bob Palco went back to the chalkboard, if you will. West Allegheny rebounding in a big way from a shocking loss last week to Peters Township. Moon 7, Char Valley 0. Penn Hills 34, Kiski 14. Mars 28, Armstrong 8. Penn Trafford thumping Albert Gallatin 49-0. Some of those games maybe later than we believe because a lot of games bumped up and started early because of the weather. Franklin Regional 28, Shaler 14. Up in 6A, Canamac leads Hempfield 20-6. North Allegheny leads Mount Lebanon 7-0. Pine Richland 44, Norwin 0. That is a third quarter score. That gets you up to date with everything I have from around the WPIAL. As the football coaches and teams are back out on the football field, we'll see if Shelby is able to catch up with TJ Plack, the head coach of the Peters Township Indians, who lead it here at Monterelli Stadium by a score of 21-0. She is over at the 30-yard line on the far sideline.
And the good news, Sam, for if you're a North Hills fan, is they will get the football to start this second half. And I think, they're going to need the kind of understatement of the year here. They're going to need their offense to get started. Only 48 first half yards total. Tyler Brennan was effective at times. He ran the ball 10 carries, 47 yards. couple of 10-yard runs, a couple of 9-yard runs in the first half, but just wasn't enough.
Shelby Cassesi is down on the field with a TJ Plack of the
Takes
Peters
70
Township
plays
Indians.
to put a team away, so we got a little bit more work to do out here. Third quarter into the fourth quarter. They're a great program. I know they're not done, and neither are we.
Hey, you're up by 3 touchdowns because of a couple great plays from your special teams. What can you say about that unit and how they performed here on a wet night?
I've been saying all year it's always about the Jimmies and the Joes, and we got a couple guys. We try to put the ball in their hands, and they're able to make plays.
Coach, good luck in the second half. Thank you. Back to you guys.
TJ Plack, the head coach of the Peters Township Indians, down on the field with Shelby Cassesi as the Indians get ready to try and protect or build on a 21-point lead over the North Hills Indians. And we get set for third quarter action here in the Trib Live High School Sports Network Video Game of the Week. Steve Nagler here, Justin Labar is here. There are people here that I don't even know. But Jess Levo is here. There are a lot of people making me feel like I'm really just in the way, Steve, here tonight at Martin Raleigh Stadium as we get set for the second half kickoff. You mentioned North Hills getting the football. We've seen them kind of be 3 yards in a cloud of AstroTurf dust. They have capability, though, for big plays just in the legs of Tyler Brennan and Tyler Tomasic.
They do. They have a couple of guys to run this Wildcat that are successful. Brennan is obviously the bigger, stronger, probably maybe even a little faster of the two. He's the senior, and he has had a great success coming into week 4. We talked about the 466 yards rushing in the first 3 games that he played before getting hurt, the 13 touchdowns he scored in those first 3 weeks. But while he's had some success, the Peters Township Indians defense has overall, I think, done a nice job of controlling him on the ground.
Interesting here, Tyler Brandon is not back deep on this return team for North Hills. Keegan Bryant to the far boundary, Tomasic to the near boundary. Tyler Brennan, I don't even see him on the sideline. We'll try to pick him out in just a moment. And this ball is going to go out of bounds inside the 5, and North Hills will get good starting field position as that came off the side of the foot of the Peters Township Indian kicker, and it'll be first and 10 at the 35 for North Hills.
Keep in mind, Tyler Brennan did miss the game last week with a leg injury, and so we'll see if we actually saw the last in the last drive, we saw Curtis Foskey come in and run the football, and so yes, we don't see Tyler Brennan out there on the football field right now.
Pauling is out there running the huddle, and he will bring them out over the football. So this will be Dylan Pauling at quarterback in the gun. He's got a sidecar to his left in Joe Ryan. And he's going to run the jet sweep, a little handoff here for Keegan Bryant. Bryant bounces it outside. Nice job there to make something out of nothing. He'll get out over the 35 to the 37 for a gain of 2 on the play. It'll set up a second down and 8. And I don't see Tyler Brennan even on the sideline.
No, I don't either, unless he is in street clothes. We don't see number 22 on that near sideline.
Second and 8 for the Indians. Football on the near hash at the 37-yard line. Again, the sidecar for Pauling is Joseph Ryan. Now he'll motion Tomasic to the far side. Fake it to him and gives it to Jones. And Ryan will get a couple tough sledding there. Set up a second down and 6.
I like that play. It's a variation of the jet sweep as they fake it, the handoff to Tomasic, and then they give it to Ryan, who ran off tackle. And limited yardage, limited success there.
Sets up a third down and 6. A pair of 2-yard gains to start this opening drive of the third quarter. Tomasic in motion again. Fake it to him. Now Pauling wants to throw. Flushed, hit, sacked. Great penetration, and the sack will come from Seth Luksic back at the 30-yard line. And it'll be a fourth down and long situation for North Hills. And they'll be forced to punt the football away again. Dan Wagner back there. He'll wait for this snap at his own 16-yard line.
They faked the jet sweep, and Pauling just couldn't find anybody downfield as he rolled to his left and ended up being sacked by Luksic.
Now confusion for the Peters Township special teams. They'll have to take a timeout. But I'll remind you, don't forget to tune in for This Week in the WPIAL on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Join us. We'll visit with some of the top WPIAL coaches, plus recap Week 4 and preview Week 5 of the WPIAL regular season, as the weather has gotten suddenly very tame here in the North Hills of Pittsburgh. Hopefully you are experiencing the same wherever you're watching with us tonight.
Yeah, rain's still falling, but at a far less of a pace as we saw in the second quarter.
Pat Carey pleading his case there. He wanted a penalty against Peters Township. They had about 15 guys on the football field. I don't think they were aware it was 4th down. That's why they had to use up that timeout. North Hills was trying to snap the football really fast. Now they get set to punt it away. Wagner waits for the snap at his own 16, high snap. Goes back and gets it, and gets a good right-footed kick away. Bounces at the 40 and bounces dead left and out of bounds. And Peters Township will have great field position at the 40-yard line for their first drive of period number 3. Flag on the field, far sideline at the Peters Township 39. So I think just a sideline warning against Peters Township. They'll get asked to back up. It remains 1st and 10 from their own 40. They lead 21-0. Pfeiffer brings him out over the football. Majewski, the lone sidecar to Pfeiffer's right. Tight end and receiver to the far boundary, and Majewski will run that way with his hand off. Picks his way out over the 40, still on his feet to the 45-yard line. Stopped on the play by Seamus Connolly and company. And give him a gain of 5. No, give him a gain of 4. Set up a second down at 6.
Now Majewski, a pretty good first half after an outstanding week last week. 10 carries, 35 yards in the first 24 minutes. He had those 2 touchdowns as well in the first quarter.
10-12 on a rolling third quarter clock, 21-0. Peters Township on top. Motion by Hondrew to the near boundary. Majewski takes the handoff and bangs his way up to the midfield stripe and into North Hills territory for the first down. Pauling on the tackle. And that time just a win up front by the offensive line, and then good tough running from Ryan Majewski.
Yeah, he ran between the tackles that time behind Shadari, the left guard, the guards. Shadari, the left guard, O'Connell, the center, Grant Nelson, the right guard, doing a lot of good work up front.
1st and 10, Peters Township at the North Hills 49-yard line. Football right between the hashes and right on the N and the H where they connect. Majewski hurdles a tackler at the line of scrimmage and is met immediately after a shoot gain of 2. Joe Ryan on the tackle for North Hills. It'll set up a second down and 8. Football on the 47-yard line of North Hills. 2nd and 8, Pfeiffer in the gun. And he will hand this football off. Coming to the near side and into the open field comes Majewski. He's inside the 40 and down to about the 36, maybe the 37-yard line. Tackled on the play there by Keegan Bryan along with Seamus Connolly. But he's got another Peters Township first down.
Yeah, that time running right behind the right tackle, Rob Corrado, and almost a fumbled snap. That exchange was very high up on the pads of Majewski. He's able to settle it down, and we just saw lightning, and that's going to put the brakes on this one for 30 minutes.
Everybody out, everybody off. 8:47 to play. The lightning delay starts at 8:53. Our time, 21-0. Peters Township on top. And I think they, I know at Dormont Stadium we do. When we see lightning, you must leave the bleachers. Yep. It's aluminum, and not only just aluminum, it's aluminum beside giant metal poles.
Right.
Are we all right here is my question, Steve Nagler, to you.
Yeah.
Meteorologist Steve Nagler. Are we safe?
I would say we're safe. Really strange because it seemed like the bulk of the weather had passed us. And
it's barely raining.
Yeah, it's right. It's and then we see lightning. You heard the collective ooh and ah from the sidelines, and as soon as that happened, the refereeing crew did their job and made sure all of the players left the surface, and now the band members are walking across the football field, as well as the cheerleaders, to get out of harm's way.
Don't forget, coming up when this one is over, it'll be the WPIAL Football Scoreboard Show with Don Rebel from the new Trib High School Sports Network World Headquarters, with all the scores and recaps for Week 4 of WPIAL football. Don't miss the WPIAL Football Scoreboard Show after the game, only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Did you say Jess has a highlight package from the first half?
Yeah, let's quickly run down the scoring here as we have a little bit of a delay. Great kickoff return to start the game by Josh Casilli, and that led to a 2-yard Ryan Majewski touchdown. And Majewski would score from 3 yards out a little bit later on in the first quarter. 2:23 to go as he runs off of right tackle, breaks a tackle, and then the 73-yard punt return by Aiden McCall. This is really what broke, I think, the backs of the North Hills Indians, as it was 14-0 Peters Township late in that first quarter, and then early on in the second quarter, Aiden McCall using his speed and athleticism to break a couple tackles early on in that punt return, and then as he got back to the middle of the football field, he just found a bunch of his buddies in white jerseys that led him down the left side of the sidelines and able to score. And that's where we stand, 21-0. The only touchdown scored in the second quarter was that 73-yard punt return by Aiden McCall. Good start for the Peters Township Indians here in the second half, as well as they get a 3-and-out of North Hills after they got the opening kickoff, and now they are currently driving with the football inside the 30-yard line of the North Hills Indians. Peters Township
kick it back to 30 minutes. There's another lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Well, at least we got some good music as we see, really, the band. You've got 2 football teams inside McCurry Fieldhouse, Steve Nagler, and now 2 bands. And that North Hills band, I'm not kidding, it's like a college band. It is gigantic.
It's big, and so is the Peters
I don't
Township
know that
band.
they can all fit. You can see it. I don't know if we have do we have a live shot working right now?
We do.
Are you on the air? Can you show the band trying to get into the field house?
Yeah. And we're going to need some Crisco to get the rest of the...
I feel like you need to get a big, squeegee to squish them into the field house. It is filling up very quickly again in that building.
There it is. Yeah, we got it on. And there's got to be...
That's the tail end of the North Hills
500
band.
people maybe?
Yeah. Pretty darn close to 500 people.
I bet you between 400 and 500.
Yeah, you're talking about 78 alone for the Peters Township football team, mixing at least 150 from the North Hills band, another 55, 60 from the North Hills football team, and then the Peters band. So, yeah, it's certainly north of 400 inside that building. Hopefully there are levels and layers to McCurry Fieldhouse as they go in there for safety. And you can see on the far side, again, you don't just have to leave the football field. You have to leave the bleachers. They will not allow you to sit in the aluminum bleachers around the WPIAL during a lightning delay.
It's called Make a New Friend Night in McCurry Fieldhouse.
Yes, it is. Hello, how are you?
Close quarters in there. And actually, we're probably going to see a lot of fans probably heading out, I would guess, because of the 30-minute delay. That the second the 2 lightning strikes occurred at 8:56, so we cannot resume until 9:26 at the very earliest, and that's if we are fortunate enough to not have any more lightning strikes, as they are playing Purple Rain here by Prince. And,
Will we ever see the
Margarelli.
rain they started with, which
Right.
was John Fogerty?
Right.
And now Purple Rain. Is this the original Prince singing this song?
I believe so.
This is good stuff. I can do a mean version of Purple Rain, but I believe there are copyright things that would cost us money if I start singing. And viewers.
I would be willing to throw some money
Would
in.
you throw some
Yes,
cash at that?
I would. I would. I would contribute to the copyright infringement fund.
21-0 Peters Township on top, and Peters Township, as you mentioned, Steve, driving the Adams football 1st and 10 at the North Hills 38-yard line, and they've been just what we expected from TJ Plack and company to start this third quarter. After getting a big defensive stop, they get the football back. They go straight to the ground. It's been all Majewski, and he's been grinding it out.
How impressive is this Peters Township Indians team in light of the 3-1 start, in light of the fact that they beat West Allegheny on the road last week, 42-28. They come in, go on the road again at North Hills, the team that has started 4-0, and we learned just at halftime that West Allegheny is putting it on Upper St. Clair this week as well.
The only loss of the year for Peters Township, a 2-point loss to Jim Render's Panthers.
Right.
So,
and that was on the road.
Yeah.
Again, another game on the road. Now, the Peters Township Indians, the good news for them is not only will they, in all likelihood, start 4-1, they have a lot of home games on the back end of their schedule. So they are going to be getting the good home cooking on that back end. But we talked about the fact that in the Allegheny 8 Conference, there is really no easy game outside of Woodland Hills, which, by the way, Woodland Hills almost beat Upper St. Clair last week. Upper St. Clair scraped past Woodland Hills. The Moon Tigers are better than they were last year.
We saw them in week 0. Fantastic defense up there.
Chartiers Valley, 0-1 in conference, but they have won all 3 of their outside of conference games. And Bethel Park is better.
Bethel
Baldwin is better. So these are teams that you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go through and play. And I think TJ Platt, from what I've seen tonight in the first, whatever it is, 5 minutes into the second half, this is as good of a team as I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff. You really look down through what they have remaining on their schedule. Next week, Canamac, more of a non-conference game, but a nice rivalry there between those two schools. Then they get back to conference play against the Moon Tigers at Char Valley. The big one that you would look down there and circle if you want to be a team that's around and fighting for an Allegheny 8 conference title is Jeff Matheny's Bethel Park Blackhawks.
Yeah, Bethel Park is a very good team. They are 1-1 in conference, 2-1 overall. But Jeff Matheny is one of the top coaches in WPIL, and he's going to have his team, up near the top. I think that you look at the teams in the Allegheny 8 conference. The top teams right now: Upper St. Clair, Peters Township, West Allegheny, and Baldwin, tied with Bethel Park 1-1 in that fourth and final spot. For that fourth and final spot. I think that's probably who you're looking at as far as the teams that are going to be battling for playoff spots.
Meanwhile, for North Hills, this won't hurt them in terms of standings. They are on top of the 5A Northern Conference. Penn Hills is perfect as well, but only 2 wins for Penn Hills in conference play, although they are playing a conference game tonight. North Hills non-conference again next week as they'll head to Monroeville and play one of the best teams, I think, in the WPIL in any classification, the Gateway Gators. And then on the road against Scott Heinauer's Mars Club. They are 0-1 in conference play, but Scott Heinauer's football teams, they're always strong.
Yes, they're good. And so when you look at this North Hills schedule, they're fairly heavily weighted on the back end. They've played Fox Chapel already. They've played Kiski. They've played Hampton. Those are probably going to be the 3 teams that finish in the bottom half of the Northern Conference. So it's not going to be an easy road for the North Hills Indians the rest of the way.
Yeah, they are, as you mentioned, their final 4 weeks, all conference games and all with teams other than Shaler that you would say are very, very good football teams. Mars and then Armstrong. The Riverhawks are 3-1, 1-0 in conference play. At Shaler, Shaler improved,
Yes.
and they are now 2-2, 1-1 in conference play. And kudos to them, by the way, early in, I think, week 0, breaking the longest losing streak in the WPIAL with the win. But then the big one, the Penn Hills Indians. Penn Hills probably the team that you look at as the team that most people, pundits, if you will, around the WPIAL expect to be the 5A Northern Conference champion.
I would agree. Penn Hills 4-0 overall, and they're outscoring their opponents on average 38-10. So that is a very athletic, very strong Penn Hills team, and I think has a pretty good chance of going through this Northern Conference undefeated.
Let's see if I can get back into the scoreboard here and refresh it and possibly get some scores. Talk about some of those teams that we were just mentioning and see how they're doing tonight in their Week 4 matchups from around the WPIAL. It is, I don't know, what would you call it? Raining gently. It's a gentle rain. It's a soft, very lovely seated here in the press box with the whole gang from the Trib Live High School Sports Network. We are in a 30-minute lightning delay. I'd say we're about 10 minutes in, maybe? Not even?
Yeah, just about 10, yep.
Let's see if I get a little greased lightning coming out. I love that they have weather-themed music to help us through the rain delay. Gateway 56, Ringgold 0. It has been a rough year 1 for Mike Smianik down at the Ringgold Ram Club. And it's Shaler still trailing Franklin Regional 28-14 as I try to keep it to either Allegheny 8 or Northern Conference action. Bethel Park trails Central Catholic. That is a non-conference matchup. Bethel Park trailing there 7-6. So that's a dandy. Seneca Valley not involved for us. So really was looking for a Penn Hills score. Oh, there. Nope, that's North Hills. Oh, Penn Hills leading Kiski area by a score of 34-14. A game in the third quarter, maybe later than that. I'm not sure when it got updated back at the world headquarters, but Penn Hills certainly looks like they're on their way to improving to 3-0 and tying North Hills atop the 5A Northern Conference. As we remain in a lightning delay. Let's take a break, Steve, and we'll come back and bring you more exciting stuff. They're throwing Frisbee at Martirelli Stadium, and the Crazies are still up having their cookout above Martirelli Stadium. You're listening to and watching WPIAL Football 2018 in a lightning delay from Martirelli Stadium. Peters Township on top of North Hills 21-0. We'll be right back after this.
Trib Live has a little something for everyone. Sports from high school to the pros. News from across the street and around the world. Arts and entertainment. Lifestyles. Opinion. Weather. Photo galleries. Video. You can even find your next job, house, and car. So look alive, Pittsburgh, and get the news you want and information you need all in one place. TribLive.com. TribLive.com. News and more 24/7.
Log on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest high school football news during this week in the WPIAL, only here on the new Trib Live High School Sports Network. Join Don Rebel and other members of the Trib Live High School Sports Network team as it visits with WPIAL football coaches, plus they run down the upcoming schedule and preview the weekend's top high school football games. That's this week in the WPIAL, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. this fall, only on the new Trib Live High School Sports Network.
In Martirelli, we are in a weather delay, 21-0 Peters Township on top of North Hills. Steve and I have to go to our respective trailers and get our hair fixed and get a little snack. So we're going to jump out, but as soon as we get back anywhere close to football, we'll be back with you. So keep it right here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Right now, music, they're doing a great job with the DJ up here at Martirelli, and a sign that says weather delay, brought to you by Jess Levo. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to and watching WPIAL football on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Welcome back to Martorelli Stadium. We are going to get football after about an hour and 10-minute rain delay. We're going to get back to the action alongside Steve Nagler. 8:47 remaining in the third period. Peters Township leads North Hills by a score of 21-0. They have a 1st and 10 at the North Hills 38-yard line due to the Peters Township Indians. We went officially to a lightning delay at 8:53 p.m., Steve, and what time is it right this second?
It is 10 o'clock, so hour and 7-minute delay as the two teams have stretched. They're about ready to take to the field with Peters Township really in firm control of this football game. Ryan Majewski has been the main go-to guy in the backfield for the Peters Township Indians. Unofficially, 14 carries, 57 yards, 22 yards on 4 carries so far on this first drive of the second half for Peters Township. And really, Sam, you figure if Peters Township can cash this this football in for 7 points, it would put the North Hills Indians in a really tough spot.
Crowd considerably smaller as we get set to get back to the action here. And I'm looking to see if Tyler Brennan came back out. See if North Hills might have gotten any kind of treatment to him, but I don't see him on the field in terms of the North Hills defense or offense for that matter. But they would certainly miss him on both sides of the football, especially on that offense. Official standing over the ball. We have Shelby down on the field here at Martorelli coming up in just a moment. Should be talking about some of those big boys. We were talking, Steve, about how difficult this is going to be as a player. One thing to get yourself stretched back out, but really warmed up. I mean, they played a lot of football, and then they had a long break. So it'll be interesting to see how these two football teams respond. You can see them still. Pfeiffer out there stretching out, trying to get loose. He's in the gun with a sidecar, Majewski. 1st and 10 from the North Hills 38. And we are back underway. Majewski takes the handoff, goes straight up the gut and off to the races. 20, 15, 10, 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Ryan Majewski. 10 seconds into the second portion of this football game after the lightning delay. And Majewski takes it in from 38 yards out. It's 27-0, Peters Township on top.
Well, I think one of the two teams was a little bit more ready to take to the field than the other team. There was a lot of room to run for Ryan Majewski.
Brusdowitz on to attempt the extra point out of the hold of Pfeiffer to try and push it to a 28-0 lead. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Peters Township now leading this football game 28-0. Let's go down to the field and talk with Shelby.
Guys, this delay started at about 8:53. It's now just past 10 o'clock, so over an hour this lightning delay cost us for time. And there were multiple strikes in the area during that time. I spoke with someone from North Hills just before the players came out. He said if there was one more strike, this thing would have been called. But now it's dry out here, not a drop of rain, and the field feels pretty good as well. So hopefully they can fit the rest of this game in tonight. Back to you guys.
Field working perfectly for Ryan Majewski as he adds 38 yards and yet another touchdown to his total. And the Indians, the Peters Township Indians, extend their lead over the North Hills Indians to 28-0.
Yeah, 15 carries, now 95 yards for Majewski, and those 3 touchdowns. If this was flag football, if it was two-hand touch, that would have still been a 38-yard touchdown run.
Credit to the big guys up front for the Peters Township Indians as Brusdowitz gets ready to kick it away again. And he will send it high and deep. And send Tomasic back to the 2-yard line. Tomasic up the far hash to the 15. And he's tripped up shy of the 20. Stays on his feet. Gets out over the 20 to the 24-yard line. Great balance by Tomasic. And he'll put North Hills in business 1st and 10. But in a 28-0 hole. And at this point, just looking for something positive to look at in the film room tomorrow.
I think you're right. And that's what Pat Carey and his staff are probably thinking right now. it has not been a good night offensively for North Hills, but they still have time to maybe get some kinks worked out and get some points on the board.
3 receivers to the near boundary, the closest to the quarterback there. As Pauling will take this ball and just run it himself out over the 25, 26, maybe the 27 for a short gain. McCall on the tackle for the Peters Township Indians. Let's give him 4, set up a second down at 6. And it is gone from being a very nice crowd and a very fairly loud crowd for much of this football game to almost an empty stadium for these football players to play in. This is like a Saturday afternoon game now. Pauling back in the gun. 28-0, Peters Township on top. 3 receivers to the near boundary. Pauling wants to set up a little bubble screen here for Keegan Bryant. And he is going to be bowled over for a loss back near the original line of scrimmage. Just took too long for that play to develop, and the Peters Township defense sniffed it out. And they bury Bryant for a loss back inside the 25 to 23-yard line.
A really good job of sniffing that play out by Josh Casilli as he came up and blew that play up right from the get-go, and a loss of about 8.
Set up a second down at 10 at the 23. Here's Pauling on the keeper, gets the corner, but then banged out of bounds as he gets out near the 28-yard line. On the tackle that time, Corbin Hondrew. Hondrew, a big kid, 6'1", 210, just a sophomore. It's a very young Peters Township team. Talking with the athletic director, Brian Geyer, about it. He said over half of these kids are freshmen or sophomores of this 78-man roster. As Wagner gets set to punt this away again. Low snap, he handles that. Spiraling kick will bounce at the Peters Township 42. Taking North Hills bounce inside the 40 and down to the 35-yard line. It'll be down there by North Hills. It'll be 1st and 10 for Peters Township at their own 35-yard line. They lead it 28-0 in the Trib Live High School Sports Network Video Game of the Week on the network. Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, serving you with 5 convenient locations in the South Hills. They have multiple wash packages available to keep your car looking its very best. Give your car the works to give it that showroom shine with the added tire dressing and Magic Repel. And remember, there's an easier way to wash your car. Check them out online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you to keep your car clean, shiny, and dry every time. This is Adrian Williams on the carry, taking a handoff from Pfeiffer. He'll bang it forward for a few. Let's give him 3 on that first down carry out to the 38-yard line. Set up a second down and 7. And right now, Peters Township, not only do they want to run the ball because they've been so successful doing so, but they want to chew as much of this clock as they can, leading 28-0, 6:27 on that rolling third quarter clock. Williams, the sidecar for Pfeiffer on 2nd and 7. He wants to throw. And he's got a receiver open, underthrows his intended receiver just past the midfield stripe.
Well, and they had Adrian Williams wide open. He had run past the defender for North Hills, Curtis Foskey, the sophomore, as he was kind of sucked up in to the run coverage or got sucked up into that run fake. And fortunate for North Hills that ball was underthrown.
Incompletion stops the clock, 6:18 to go third quarter. 3 receivers near. Now they'll shift Williams to the right side of Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer again wants to throw. This time Williams out of the backfield. And he breaks the tackle to the far sideline into North Hills territory, all the way down to the North Hills 40. He's got a first down for Peters. They will mark him out of bounds at the 41-yard line. And so the Indians of Peters Township take to the passing game here. Back-to-back passes for the sophomore Logan Pfeiffer.
Adrian Williams got a great block downfield on that screen by Ian Shadari, which really sprung him for that 19-yard gain.
He's the sidecar again for Pfeiffer on 1st and 10 from the North Hills 41. Football on the far hash. Williams takes the handoff, looking for that far corner, and upended as he gets inside the 40 to about the 39, maybe the 38-yard line. Knifing in there defensively, Seamus Connolly. And it'll be a gain of 2, set up a second down and 8. They'll say he's out of bounds, and they'll stop the clock with 6 minutes to play in the third. Now they'll roll it. Pfeiffer in the gun. Williams again the sidecar. 3 receivers near boundary. Casilli is wide to this near boundary. Williams straight ahead at the line of scrimmage. Grabbed a hold of by the interior of the North Hills Indian defense. Stood up, and finally the whistle comes. After a minimal gain, sets up a third down at 5. They're not working the down marker on the far side of the football field. Still says first down, Steve Nagler.
That is correct. It is third down, as you rightly said. Really good tackle by Mertezi on that last play.
Pfeiffer to throw. Near side, Casilli makes the catch at the 32, and he is dropped immediately. In fact, might have given ground. Good tackle in the open field by Keegan Bryant for North Hills. And it'll be fourth down for Peters Township. Let's call it fourth and short, 3 long 2.
I really like the arm of Logan Pfeiffer, and I think he shows a lot of poise for...
I was just going to say, I like the way he kind of comports himself.
Yeah, he's got a lot of poise for just a sophomore.
He's got Majewski now as the deep back behind him on fourth and a long 2. Majewski straight ahead. First down. Inside the 30 and inside the 28 to the 27-yard line, and just good blocking up front and then tough running from Majewski, and the Peters Township Indians move the sticks.
Well, that's just, we're going to be tougher than you, and that's, everybody knew they were going to run the football there in this stadium, and they were able to do it for 6 yards when they only needed 3.
Majewski the sidecar on first and 10. Mark the football at the North Hills 28 near hash. Majewski, draw play. He's to the 25, still on his feet, stumbling forward all the way down to the 20. They'll mark him just shy of the 20 at the 21-yard line. Give him 7 on the carry. Set up a second down 3.
Majewski on those last 2 runs has eclipsed the 100-yard mark, 108 yards on 17 carries, 3 touchdowns, 2, 3, and 38 yards.
Little Fumblerooski secret play here, and the handoff is going to go to Aiden McCall, who turns the far corner. Good job by North Hills to not get fooled by that. It was a crazy formation. Majewski was lined up almost all the way to the near hash, about 10 yards back in the line of scrimmage. And then McCall just ran around and picked up the snap that was laid on the ground by the center.
Yeah, it was almost as if he was trying to hide in that formation and came around and picked that ball up and ran for 4 yards.
Here's Majewski on the straight-ahead handoff this time. Breaking tackles in the backfield and bullying his way forward for a couple. Down inside the 17 to the 16-yard line.
Well, Majewski is a tough runner. Listed at 5'10", 180 pounds, just a junior. Very rarely you're going to see him go down on first contact.
Football now on the far hash. The Indians trying to chew some of this clock. We get down around pretty close to 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter before they'll have to snap this football. Pfeiffer and everybody looking at the far sideline. Now they get set to go. He will turn and hand it off to Majewski. And he is hit immediately, swarmed over. Great penetration that time. As Larion Mertezi for the North Hills Indians.
And Mertezi is a special kind of player. We called his name, 6'3", 295, senior.
Not hard to find him. There's several guys hiding underneath him during the lightning delay to stay dry. Here's Pfeiffer to throw. And he has a man open. Catch is made. Bulling his way down there. The lead stick is the Peterstown receiver. And that is Aiden McCall again. I don't think he got the first down, though. He's going to be
short.
Just a little shy. It'll be fourth and about 1. It's Majewski time.
Wait, when Pfeiffer sets that back foot, he can really get a lot of velocity on those throws. And saw it right there.
Majewski, the deep back, takes the handoff, bangs his way forward, and leans forward. Second and maybe third effort to get the first down. He's down to about the 6-yard line. First and goal, Peters Township.
Majewski now averaging 5.5 yards per carry.
He'll get a breather. Checking back in the backfield comes Adrian Williams. Pfeiffer and company all look to the far sideline. And he should get pretty close to 90 seconds remaining in the third before he has to snap this football. Now he moves Williams up to his left-hand side, motions Casilli across the formation from far to near, hands it off to Williams. And he's got nowhere to go. Tough sledding there as just one player comes off the edge unblocked for the North Hills Indians. That's Jeffrey Bear, who wraps him up for no gain. It'll be second and goal.
Luke Hulbert was there as well, the junior defensive back.
Now Majewski will check back in, so the rest is a brief one. He's the deep back. Stands behind Pfeiffer. We're going to get a timeout called by Peters Township. Take a break. You're listening to WPIAL Football. You're watching WPIAL Football. Only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of lawn and garden and nursery supplies at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries a variety of soils, mulch, fertilizer, insecticides, annuals, perennials, shrubs, trees, and tropical plants. While you're there, shop their many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, new and name brand furniture, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. You'll be amazed at their selection, prices, and quality of goods. Open Tuesday through Sunday 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
Back at Martorelli Stadium, 28-0. Peters Township on top and looking right here to push this up to a running second half clock if they can get the touchdown on the extra point. They have a second and goal from the 6-yard line of the North Hills Indians. Majewski, the deep back, Casilli is wide. There's still a coach on the football field as they run this play. Pfeiffer's going to throw it into the end zone. He's got a wide open receiver, and the catch is made for the touchdown. The North Hills coach was strolling off the field. He wasn't that far from the numbers. And the catch is made by Ryan Moore for the touchdown. It is 34-0 Peters Township, and now the all-important extra point for Brian Brusdowitz out of the hold of Pfeiffer. Kick is up, and that kick is good, and the Indians lead it 35-0 with 48 seconds remaining in the third period. We'll take a break, and we'll come back. Peters Township has the North Hills Indians up against a running clock. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018 on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Excella Health knows how important shoulders, knees, and ankles are to an athlete. Whether you're on the gridiron, under the boards, or walking a balance beam, being on the sidelines is never an option. Excella Health has a trusted team of orthopedic surgeons and athletic trainers right here in Westmoreland County. To learn more about Excella Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, visit them on the web at excellahealth.org. That's excellahealth.org.
Back at Martorelli alongside Steve Neglett. 35-0. Peters Township on top. 48 seconds remaining in the third. On the run-up comes Brusdowitz. He kicks it high and short. A little onside kick here, but a nice job to get in there and recover that football for North Hills. Fighting for it was Luke Hulbert. He got walloped, but he comes out of there with the football. North Hills has it at their own 41-yard line, 1st and 10. North Hills fans not crazy about that call by T.J. Black. You can hear from the crowd mic. Pauling comes out to the huddle with the play. It'll be a running clock situation here as soon as we snap the football. Pauling in the shotgun. Sidecars Joseph Ryan to his left. Now he motions Keegan Bryant. Now Pauling will keep it himself, but he's got nowhere to go. He's going to be tackled in the backfield for a loss by Corbin Hondrew. Two-yard loss will set up a second down and 12 from the 39. Football closer to the near hash for Pauling and company now. They come out of the huddle. They'll motion Keegan Bryant to the far boundary, fake it to him. Pauling sets up. Now he's going to tuck it and try to run. He gets a little bit of room there, out over the 40, out near the 43, 44-yard line. Flag on the play as he's tackled out there by Jason McCloskey. Illegal shift, though, will be the call against the North Hills Indians. So it'll be a 5-yard penalty, and that'll be the final play of period number 3. When we come back, it'll be period number 4, 35-0. Peters Township on top at the end of 3. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018 on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
For the most complete recap of Friday night's high school football action, tune in on your way home from the game to the WPIAL Scoreboard Show, only here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Hi, this is Don Rebel. Join me in a cast of thousands for all the scores with recaps from the top games, plus we highlight the night on the Trib Live Roundtable. That's the WPIAL Scoreboard Show after the game on Friday nights on the Trib Live High School Sports Network and at tribhssn.triblive.com.
Back at Martorelli alongside Steve Negler. We get set for period number 4. Peters Township 35, North Hills 0. That has not dampened the North Hills band. They continue to impress.
I hope folks in the general living area to Martorelli didn't want to turn in early tonight.
Interestingly, the tailgate has gone away from the backyard. 2nd and 17 after the penalty for Pauling and company in the gun. He wants to throw. Fires near side, overthrows Tomasic, and it was almost intercepted by Aiden McCall. And now worse news is Tomasic looks like he is injured on the play, and the trainers will come out.
And you just got to hope that maybe this is a situation where he had the wind knocked out of him. It looked like he took a hit from behind, but with Tyler Brennan leaving the game in the second quarter, and now Tyler Tomasic, that would be a big loss.
That was their 1-2 punch. We talked about their impressive start to this season as a huge part of this North Hills Indian offense. He's able to get up to a seated position at about the 38-yard line of North Hills.
Yeah,
he's talking to the trainers. I think I agree with you, Steve. He may have just need to get himself together, and he will get up and walk off under his own power. To a nice round of applause by the small group of remaining fans here at Martorelli Stadium. That is very good news for the North Hills Indians. Third and 17 now. Foskey checks into the backfield along with Damon Thompson. Thompson to the left of Pauling. Foskey is behind him on 3rd and 17. This will be Foskey trying to get outside. Great job on the edge by Peters Township to set that edge and bottle him up. Just a great job on outside contained by Seth Luxick. 5'9", 175, the senior. He's not going to get credit for the tackle, but wow. Did he do a job as he was really getting hammered by the lead blocker.
Yeah, he took on that block by number 32 of North Hills. That's Damon Thompson, yeah.
Wagner, low snap, bounces. He does an amazing job to pick it up and get that punt out of there. nearly blocked. It is a short, wobbly kick, and it takes a Peters Township bounce. But credit Daniel Wagner for keeping his cool. After the bad snap, the Indians will be in business as the North Hills Indians down at the Peters Township 49-yard line. 1st and 10 there for Peters on top, 35-0. We're going to go down and check with Shelby here as part of this drive coming up. 1st and 10 for the Indians at their own 49. Pfeiffer in the gun. Hands the football. Oh, what a bad face mask there. Flag comes in. Adrian Williams got absolutely hornswoggled by the face mask. This will be a personal foul. Let's send it down to Shelby. What do you have? No, we don't have Shelby just yet. My bad.
I don't know if I've ever seen 3 flags been thrown almost exactly at the same time from 3 different locations on the football field. Everybody saw that, including us up here in the press box.
To the end of that 1-yard gain. And set the football up 1st and 10 at the North Hills 35-yard line. Pfeiffer in the gun. He's got what looks like a brand new sidecar. And taking the handoff, coming out to the near side and inside the 30 all the way down inside the 25-yard line. Running with the football is Nick Wayner. Conley on the tackle for North Hills, but Wayner just keeps that running game going for the Peters Township Indians. And now let's send it down to Shelby. Talk about that offensive line that's been so impressive.
In their first 3 wins this year, Peters Township outscored their opponents 105-35, and it looks like they'll certainly be adding to that point differential this evening. Now, they're led by quarterback Logan Pfeiffer and running back Ryan Majewski, but any good running back or quarterback is going to tell you that their success is due to a good O-line, and this O-line for Peters Township is one of the best in the Wpial this year. They had 4 seniors coming back to start for them, all with prior game experience, and these rushing numbers don't lie. Coming into tonight's game, Peters rushed for 414 yards on 103 attempts and 5 touchdowns, adding to that tonight as well, and you just don't get those numbers without the guys in the trenches. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Shelby. And we get another personal foul against North Hills, this time roughing the passer, and TJ Plack has seen enough of that. Away goes Logan Pfeiffer, and we get a brand new quarterback in for the Peters Township Indians. This will be Joe Labalarte in the gun. He will hand the football off to Wayner. Wayner comes back to this near hash, turns it up to the 5-yard line.
What? I think it's 5th. No. 14's the running back.
Nine minutes remaining on the rolling 4th quarter clock. The new quarterback is Sam Miller, 5'8", 135-pound freshman. Miller will turn and hand it off to Wayner. Wayner bangs his way forward. He's going to be met right at the line of scrimmage by Curtis Foskey. Set up a 3rd and goal. Really, we talk about those guys sitting for over an hour, Steve, and then to come in cold and then be getting banged around. You don't want to get guys hurt in a game that's clearly in hand for the Peters Township Indians, about to pick up the 4th win of the season. Miller in the gun. Again, it's the same play with Wayner. Down to about the 4-yard line. Wayner just held up there as we get down to 8 minutes remaining in regulation.
If Logan Pfeiffer's night is done, and we assume that it will be, finished 9 of 11 for 91 yards passing and a touchdown.
Pretty good stuff for the sophomore As Peters shows great balance with Majiski running the ball, Williams running the ball. Here's Wayner running the ball. And he's going to be stopped. Tackled on the play by Curtis Foskey, the sophomore. And North Hills will take over on downs. Get their offense out here. And I believe we'll see some new cats for the North Hills Indians as well here. Peters on top 35-0. Football on the near hash. 1st and 10 for North Hills from their own 4-yard line. Peters Township with 10 guys. Now they have 11. As Wayner will check back in defensively. And the Indians are going to have to burn a timeout. Make sure they have 11 guys on the football field. We'll keep it here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Remind you that when we're done, what's left of the scoreboard show will be right here on the network. Don Rebel, the Cast 1,000 scores, highlights, updates from all around the WPIAL here in Week 4, and then the round table. Pretty impressive stuff tonight from Peters Township. Next up, they are home against the Cannon McMillan Big Macs in a non-conference matchup. North Hills, meanwhile, doesn't get any easier, especially if Brennan is still hurt, as they hit the road to take on the Gateway Gators. Pauling will remain the quarterback for the Indians of North Hills out of that timeout. Stands with his heels on his own goal line. Trouble with the snap, but he manages to grab a hold of that football, hand it off to Foskey. Foskey up over the 5 and out to about the 8-yard line. Gain of about 4, sets up a 2nd down and 6. Foskey again, the deep back. 2 receivers will go to that far boundary. Keegan Bryant and Luke Hulbert. Now Bryant motions back to the near side. Pauling hands it off to Foskey, looking for the edge. And he's got room, 15, 20, 25, and out to the 28-yard line of North Hills' 1st down. As the Indians move away from the shadow of their own goal post.
Well, we've seen some good stuff from Curtis Foskey. As now a player down. Foskey was actually tackled into a couple of players, one from Peters Township, one from North Hills.
I think that's Luke Hulbert.
I think it is Hulbert, yep. And it went into the feet of both of those players, and we hope Hulbert's going to be okay. But we saw Foskey late in that first half come in for the injured Tyler Brennan, and he has run the ball, I think, very aggressively here tonight.
Yeah, he's been impressive and played some very good defense as well. Don't miss the network's newest show, the WPIAL Soccer Show with Bob Orquist and James Dotson, every Wednesday night at 5:55. That's a very specific time only on the Trib High School Sports Network. They continue to tend to Hulbert down there. He's up in a seated position at the North Hills 29-yard line. We had an hour and 8-minute lightning delay with about 3.5 minutes gone in the 3rd quarter. The good news is Hulbert able to get up and walk off under his own power.
Showing the replay, and he really got upended. Kind of, I don't think he saw Foskey being tackled into him, and he tried to get his feet out of the way, and he went head over heels after getting clipped by Foskey to finish that run.
Looks like a light jog. That's good news for North Hills Indians fans. 1st and 10 from the 29. Foskey, the deep back, in the broken eye. He'll take the handoff, and he will bang his way forward, and he gets popped. Good tackle there defensively by Donovan McMillan. 5'10", 155-pound sophomore.
Some shenanigans after the play is going to result in a 15-yard penalty.
2 flags out there.
I think they got David Lucas, the center, for some extracurriculars.
Frustrating night for the North Hills Indians, and they've shown a little bit of that frustration. No, this is against the Peters Township Indians. So from the 35, you're going to make your way out to the midfield stripe after the 15-yard tack on. Actually all the way to the Peters Township 48-yard line. Foskey again the deep back. 2 receivers near. For Pauling, turns, hands to Foskey. He'll try the left side this time, pounds his way forward. Tackled on the play that time by Jake Petrarca.
Well, if you're Pat Carey, you like what you see in Curtis Foskey. You're down 35-0 on a running clock and a very disjointed game because of the lightning delay, and yet Curtis Foskey is running really hard. Just a sophomore. Actually, just a freshman. No, Chase Foskey is a freshman.
Curtis is a sophomore. Jeff Bear wide to this near boundary. In the slot to this near side is Keegan Bryant. And rolling this way is Pauling, looking deep downfield. He underthrows his intended receiver and almost intercepted by Peters Township, but unable to hang on as he tumbled to the turf was Donovan McMillan. At about the 19-yard line of Peters Township, that's when he would tell you he's got to hold on to. And so North Hills dodges that bullet.
Yeah, I think he had a receiver beyond the defensive backs, but the ball just kind of slipped out of his hands. It was a wounded duck right from the point of release as he was rolling to his right.
During the rainstorm, we saw him have a ball jump out of his hand as he pulled it back to pass for a huge loss. It'll be 3rd and 5 from the Peters 43. Here's Foskey banging his way forward. He's got the first down, and he's down inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. He's got a quick first step. Boy, he is just thick. Is Foskey. Good-looking sophomore. Clock continues to roll. 4:12 on that rolling fourth quarter clock. 35-0. Peters Township on top. Football almost on the far hash as Pauling brings him out of the huddle. Bryant wide to this near boundary. 2 tight ends. Foskey takes the handoff, comes back to the near. And right up the middle of the football field, now carrying tacklers. Not only is he running hard, Steve, but he seems to be running better as he gets deeper into his workload.
It seems like his vision is pretty good, too. That time the play called for a kind of a stretch play to the right side of the formation, and yet he was able to find the hole that he cut back and hit. And he not only hits it quickly, but he carries you after he gets hit the first time.
Here he goes on 2nd and short. He's got another first down. So North Hills trying to put together what would be a 96-yard drive if they can cap it with a touchdown. Remember, this started back at their own 4-yard line. Got the benefit of a Peters Township penalty, but the bulk of it on the legs of Curtis Foskey.
62 yards rushing on 12 carries now for Foskey.
Pauling brings him out over the football. 1st and 10 from the Peters 25. Now he'll flop lead blocker Thompson over to the near boundary, but prior to the snap, whistles and flags, it's a false start against the North Hills Indians. Well, that was the theme really in the first half for North Hills when they were jumping into that 21-0 hole, Steve. A whole lot of missteps in terms of penalties and mistakes that they would like to have back. So 1st and 10 at the 25 becomes 1st and 15 at the 30.
Well, they would love to get a touchdown here. It wouldn't matter too much except just give your offense something to be positive about.
Pauling to throw. He's got a receiver down the near sideline, unable to hang on as he goes to the surface. Keegan Bryant, he was down at about the 9-yard line. Back there defensively for Peters Township with Braylon Carrington.
And that's one you really got to haul in for your for your quarterback. You know, Pauling has been out here battling, and Bryant had a step on his defender, and it was a very well thrown ball. Pauling just dropped that one right into the basket for Bryant.
2nd and 15. Here comes Foskey. He's got a hole left side. He is pounding his way inside the 20 and down near the 15-yard line. And very close to a first down. Indeed, he does have another first down for the North Hills Indians. And needed 15, got 16. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 15. Foskey again, the deep back, and that broken eye. And a nice move in the backfield. He keeps running and the feet moving inside the 10. He's down near the 6-yard line. Let's give him about 9. Set up a 2nd down and a long one.
15 yards away from 100 yards for Foskey. And keep in mind, he didn't enter this football game offensively in the backfield until about halfway through the second, maybe 3/4 of the way through the second quarter.
Absolutely. He's back there again on 2nd and short. They'll fake it to him. Pauling rolls, thinking about throwing. Instead, he's going to be dropped almost right at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Like he wanted to throw, then he thought maybe he would run, but Pat McDonald wraps him up. The Indians of North Hills will take a timeout with 45 seconds remaining in regulation. They're trailing 35-0, but they want to get a score up on the scoreboard here at Martorelli Stadium.
And you can't blame them. Like I talked about, Pat Carey wants something positive to look at on film as they review it in all likelihood tomorrow morning.
Mr. Magic Car Wash, Steve, now that the rain has gone through, this is where you want to be,
Yes.
my friend. Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, serving you with 5 convenient locations in the South Hills. They have multiple car wash packages available to keep your car looking its very best. Give your car the works to give it that showroom shine with the added tire dressing and Magic Repel. And remember, there's an easier way to wash your car. Check them out online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you to keep your car clean, shiny, and dry every time. Out of the timeout, 3rd and 2 from the 7. Pauling with the sidecar. Actually, an I formation lined up to his right. He'll toss it back to Keegan, and he will bend his way into the end zone. Keegan Bryant from 7 yards out for the North Hills Indians. Touchdown. And the North Hills Indians do indeed get on the scoreboard to make it 35-6 with 26 seconds left to play.
Well, 7-yard touchdown run as he went in motion and took the pitch and was able to outrun defenders, actually outran some and ran through the tackles of others. And so North Hills gets on the board very late.
Daniel Wagner on to attempt the extra point out of the hole to Pauling. Snap a good one. That kick is up. And that kick is good. North Hills makes it 35-7 with 26 seconds to play in the video game of the week on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. I'll remind you, while we own Friday nights, follow our Trib High School Sports Network fall sports coverage every day with soccer and volleyball broadcasts and a whole lot more. Your home for all high school sports is the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Next Friday and Saturday, conference play continues all around the WPIAL. Trib High School Sports Network has at least 30 broadcasts for Week 4, including our video stream Game of the Week. Stay tuned to hssn.triblive.com for more details. A 96-yard touchdown drive for the North Hills Indians on the legs of sophomore Curtis Foskey. Something positive to watch on film and take into next week's matchup with the Gateway Gators. As Wagner comes out here to kick it away. Meanwhile, Peters Township, the confidence continues to build for TJ Plack's club. We get a new kicker for North Hills. It was Brandon Manning kicking off. You picked up off the squib kick by Donovan McMillan. McMillan out over the 30, going to the far sideline, 37-yard line. As the North Hills Indians defense will come back out on the football field for one snap for the Peters Township JV. Miller and company. No, they'll roll the clock. They won't even have to snap it. See if they try to hurry up and get one off. Don't believe they will. Game clock down to 5 and ticking. 4, 3, 2, 1. That'll do it. Your final score from Martinelli Stadium, Peters Township 35-7 over the North Hills Indians. Don't go anywhere. Post-game show coming up when we come back. You're watching WPIAL Football 2018 only on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
There's a new fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or two. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind, since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements done with a rate as low as 3.29% APR, fixed for 7 years. Longer terms are available. Stop by, call 1-800-242-BANK, or visit dollar.bank. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired. Rate is for well-qualified borrowers and includes a discount with a maintained qualifying checking account. Not available for the refinance of a Dollar Bank loan, line, or mortgage of less than $15,000 in new money. Monthly payment of $13.34 per $1,000 borrowed. Other terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Equal housing lender.
Back in Martinelli, 35-7. Your final, the Peters Township Indians over the North Hills Indians. Peters Township improving to 4-1 on the season. North Hills falling to 4-1 on the season. The scoring summary with video highlights features Steve Negler and Jess Levo. Take it away, guys.
After a big 82-yard kick return on the opening kickoff at the 10:04 mark, Peters Township scored their first touchdown, 2-yard touchdown run by Ryan Majewski. Later in the first quarter, the 2:23 mark, the 3-yard touchdown run by Majewski gave them a 14-0 lead. Then the big 73-yard punt return by Aiden McCall as he breaks a couple of tackles and runs it all the way down the left sideline. That gave Peters Township a 21-0 lead late in the second quarter. They'd add to it. A 38-yard touchdown run by Ryan Majewski gave them a 28-0 lead. After the long lightning delay, they'd score again late in the third quarter. A 6-yard touchdown pass from Logan Pfeiffer to Ryan Moore, and then North Hills would get on the board late with the 7-yard touchdown run by Keegan Bryant. Your final score, Peters Township 35, North Hills 7. Let's quickly take a look at some individual numbers. Peters Township led offensively by Ryan Majewski, running the ball 20 times for 110 yards. Those three touchdown runs, 2, 3, and 38 yards. Logan Pfeiffer, a good night through the air for the sophomore, 9 of 11, 91 yards passing, and a throwing touchdown. They rack up 247 yards of total offense. North Hills led by Curtis Foskey on the ground, 14 carries, 85 yards. Other than that, it wasn't a whole lot of offense for North Hills. Tyler Brennan did have a pretty good first half, but got hurt at some point in the second quarter. He ran the ball 10 times for 47 yards. Only 116 yards of total offense for the North Hills Indians.
Impressive performance for Peters Township as the Peters Township Indians get set to go home. Next week they'll take on Kenna McMillan. North Hills, meanwhile, will hit the road and make their way out the Parkway East to Gateway, then we'll take on Monroeville. That will do it for us. Thanks so much to all the folks here. Amy Schoeneman, the athletic director at North Hills, both head coaches for their fantastic help. Justin and Jess and all the fantastic folks at the Trib Live High School Sports Network for putting up with this and us. For Steve Negler, I'm Sam Hall. Final score again, Peters Township 35, North Hills 7. You've been watching WPIAL Football on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.